make a motion to call the meeting to order at 6:30.
Okay, go for it.
Second?
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, so the first order of business would be, okay, the election of a select board chair. Do I have nominations for the position?
Nominate you, Bill.
I nominate Jim.
I'll second Jim's nomination.
And I'll always second just whatever. If we're asking for a second, I always second, so
Thank you.
even if I don't, that's what I've said I would do, and I will always do it.
Thank you.
Isn't, I mean, I have to wonder if there's a little bit of a conflict with the fact of being a town employee and being the chairman of the board. It's one thing to be on the board, but to be the chairman of the board is a little different.
There's no statute that says anything about that.
Okay.
Okay, so I want to call there, I've been nominated to be chair, Jim's been nominated to be chair, I'd like to call it to a vote. Okay, all in favor of Jim?
Aye.
Aye. And you can vote for yourself.
Two, okay, so it's 3-2. Jim, you're the new chair, congratulations.
Thank you. Election of Select Board Vice Chair. I'd like to nominate John Wasaki.
I second.
I
I
second.
nominate Bill.
Once again, I will second it.
Thank you.
I'll call the vote. All in favor of Bill, say aye.
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 2. All in favor of John, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 3-2. John, you're the vice chair. So, we're going to have to go at some point here of talking at the next meeting or whatever of signing the warrants, because we said chair and vice chair. That doesn't have to be that way, so we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I would say we just, where that was passed by the last select board, we go with that until we update a new
But we're
policy.
going to have to, because we said two, I think we said 2 people have to sign for the warrants?
Yes,
Yeah, it was the
yes.
chair and the vice chair.
Yeah, chair,
Yeah,
2 people.
and
And then
Bill
when-
and Jay were,
Right, we were the ones who were
So-
signing off,
Right,
yeah.
and when when one of those people, if one of those persons is unavailable, then any select board member can sign in their stead.
But we didn't name us, so to speak, okay?
Oh, as anyone
It was,
that can go.
it was the position that was signing the warrants.
you know, Bill has been taking a really big lead into the financing and everything, and I'd like to continue Bill to go. I would like to make a motion that Bill is still going forward with going in and signing the warrants.
I'll second that.
I'll second that as well.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And then come up with who wants to, the next meeting. So right now, for this week, I think they may have some warrants, so, Patrick, will we have warrants this week to be signed?
Always have warrants.
Okay, so Bill will go in, and then, you know, for this time around, Ricky, John,
I mean, you'll be there.
Vito, myself, just go down and take a look, because whoever's going to be doing it, okay?
I would recommend for the new guys to actually, just, even if you're not signing it, to go look at them so you can understand what
Yeah,
they
but you
are.
can sign it anyway.
Uh,
so, okay.
And just coordinate so that we make sure we have a second signature on those.
Okay. So, I'd like to get a motion for approval of the agenda that may be amended at 6:35.
A motion to accept the agenda, or to discuss the agenda, and see if we want to make any modifications to it.
Second that.
Okay. I'd like to move item number 9 up to number 7.
In front of 7?
Yeah.
So it goes treasurer's report.
We're going to do treasurer's report, and then number 9 becomes 7. I would like number 8 to stay as, I'm sorry, so 9 becomes 7, 8 stays. Let's move 8, the approval of private. Is Emmett on? Line, normally he checks in.
Let me see if Will is here. I haven't seen Emmett's name online.
I would like, I would like to
Can you
move,
scroll there, Patrick? There's a lot of names on the side.
that would be the company that he normally checks in underneath.
Is what?
It's a company that I forget what it's called or whatever. All right, I would like to move number
I'm not
8
seeing Whit, or not Whit.
to number 7, then number 9 to number 8, and then 7.
9 to 7, 7 to, Say that again?
8
8 to 7,
to 7, 9
9 to 8, and then 7 to 9.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, so you want to do approval of renaming, then you want to do public hearing, then town manager's report.
Correct. So I want to do citizens' concerns next. Once I have, call that motion, and I get a vote, all in favor of those changes?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? None. So, citizens' concerns, I'll go to the audience first. Go ahead, Mr. Wanzer.
So for those of you that don't know me, okay, my name is Ken Wanzer, and I've been a Killington taxpayer since 1993 and a resident since 1998. I have a couple of suggestions to make and concerns to voice as we move forward at this time. To say that I'm disappointed in the outcome of the voting last week, okay, is an understatement. Nevertheless, okay, this was the will of the majority of the voters, so congratulations, Vito and John. Welcome to the select board. Suggestions moving forward. Consistency in adding meeting attendees via Zoom and in person to the minutes posted online. Either type them in, okay, or attach the sign-in sheet with the Zoom attendees' names. Second item is incorporate action items in the minutes from week to week until resolved. I feel both of these items are valid, okay, and important in record keeping. My concerns are twofold. Retention, stability, morale, and motivation of town employees. Second item, okay, town budget for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026, Article 3, which didn't pass. So to the first item. I've heard a lot of things said, read many letters to the editor containing words of dysfunctional town government, town staffing chaos, crazy turnover, chaotic, etc. To be fair, I believe I've even used the words hostile working environment. There even was a recent letter to the editor in the Mountain Times that caught my eye, titled Clarity versus Chaos. So let me put some things in perspective. The select board, pay attention to the dates, fellas. Everybody, the attendees, women. Select board members Patrick Cushing and Ricky Bowen were voted in on March 25th, by March 2025, a year ago, maintaining the the three-member board. Dave Atherton was hired by the three-member board in March of 2025, okay, as well. Voters passed the five-member board article in March of 2025, and in May 2025, elected Bill Vines and Jay Hickory to complete that five-member board that was passed. Unfortunately, our newly hired town manager, Dave Atherton, passed away suddenly on September 15th, 2025. Keep those dates in the back of your mind. Also noted is, in a recent letter to the editor, okay, was the title, okay, let's run the town, not run the people out of town, which proved to be interesting in reading as well. I have compiled a list of employees over the years by departments. Dave Lewis, who was a fantastic and long-time town manager, retired in 2008. He brought in a fantastic woman, okay, for his replacement, okay, very educated, polished, experienced, and loved this town dearly. Her name was Kathleen Ramsey. She was here from 2008 to 2011 until she left. Seth Webb, okay, took over, and he continued, okay, his stretch. He was the EDT director, okay, and then appointed, okay, as town manager. He left as well, okay, and hired was Deborah Schwartz, okay. Deborah Schwartz's contract was terminated, okay, and she received a severance pay of a very surmountable amount of money, okay, to leave. Staying with town managers the last 5 years, current to current, we've had Chet Hagenbarth, We've had Michael Ramsey. Everybody remember Michael Ramsey? He was here for a short period of time, very short. Where did he come from? How did he get here? Michael Ramsey, okay, he was short-lived also. Okay, he was here for about a year, gave us 2 weeks' notice, and left prior to the 2 weeks' notice being up. Okay, thus, okay, we wound up with an interim Tom Urinal, okay, as interim town manager until Dave Atherton was hired, okay, and then passed, and Dick Horner came in as interim manager again. We now have Patrick Cushing, okay, who is our new town manager. Finance directors, last 3 years to current. We had Mark Dakota, Mary Ellen Keenan Half, and now we have Kirsten Olson. Public Works Director, last 2 years, okay, we had Chet Hagenbarth, okay, and we had Abby Sherman, and currently this space is vacant. Zoning Administrator, last 5 years to current, we've had Preston Briscoe, who is also town planner. Okay, we had Chuck Claffey, who, okay, was interim, okay, because we didn't have an opportunity to reach out and get another one, okay, with Preston's, okay, departure. We also had Darrell Arminius, okay, who is also planning director. Town planner, last 6 years, we had Preston Bristow. We had Lisa Davis Lewis now, okay, and we also have Assistant Will Austin. Public Works Director, okay, I've already covered that, I'm sorry. Highway Department, interesting. Last 3 years to current, we had Ricky Bowen, okay, who was road foreman. We had Marty Hannon. We had William Longley Jr. We had Kevin Hewitt, okay, who was also, okay, interim, okay, or road foreman. We had Bob Mitowski, and we now have, okay, Chad Galliano, all in the last 3 years. Recreation Department, last 6 years to current, we had Kathy Fouch, we've had Sarah Newell, we've had Emily Hudson, and now we have Rebecca Claffey. Very important, okay, department also, and I can't even begin to tell you about the changes in that department, and that's the fire department, okay, and case law. Fortunately, the police department has been somewhat stable, okay, with some new hires. These people that I just mentioned, with the exception of the ones that currently hold these positions, okay, are no longer here, because they've either been fired justifiably, pushed out in one way or another, left due to an uncomfortable working environment, employment insecurity, or moved on to pursue other career opportunities. The success of Killington Forward Initiative, which I constantly hear about, okay, as being the most crucial and important thing in this town, is, okay, crucial, no doubt. That being said, the retention and support of the new town administration and the various departments' personnel is equally paramount to the stability and the success of this town. Town budget, okay, for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2026. Article 3 did not pass. Patrick Cushing and the new select board worked diligently with the various department heads to create a responsible and unanimously agreed upon budget. To rework the budget will certainly require time and effort, taking staff away from their responsibilities to move the town forward. I request that the board, okay, be conscious of the timeline and the day-to-day tasks that will need to be put aside to develop new budget, okay, and equate it to dollars and cents, okay, so that everybody has a clear understanding of what they've done. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to throw one other thing in here, which I'm going off of the old thing here. At 7 o'clock, we need to stop our meeting and open up the zoning. Okay?
Yep.
Anybody else from the audience? Go ahead, Peggy.
I do. Peggy Neisner, Town Clerk. I just wanted to say thank you to the police department, who did a wonderful job helping us hold our first election at the new location. Thank you.
Anybody else in
And
the
the road
audience?
crew, you said road crew helped clear the parking lot, open up some space?
Yep, few days before, yep.
George Brandt,
Yes,
state your
I'm happy
name.
about the audit being passed. To be honest with you folks, I voted against the $200,000 audit because it was a imaginary number, as I said in another meeting. There was no number that was ever quoted as $200,000. I'm hoping that the board gets together and we can make this less money than $200,000. Vito had a great idea. It's not my idea, it's Vito's idea. We have the other auditor, we have Andrew's paperwork. You got paperwork all over the place. If you get that together, it'll be a lot less. And you can tell them specifically what you're going for. But you do have the option, if we want to, of spending $200,000. I believe personally you could do this for $70,000 to $100,000, so it's not that big of an expense, because there's certain parts you got to go for payroll, accounts receivable, and work it out from there. Also, I would like you guys, if you could, is to put a warning in the paper that there is bids for this coming in, which no one ever did. I mean, it took weeks for me to get a number back, the X number, which was nonsense. I mean, you went from 300,000 to 25,000. There's somewhere in between there. And if you guys do it smartly, you can save the town some money. And I would appreciate it if you did. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the audience? I saw Deb Burke's hand up in the back.
I haven't read anything about the Great Gulf project, and considering the taxes for the buildings that they're going to build, we're going to help a lot with the, our
Tax base.
taxes. Yeah, I'm wondering, I heard a while ago that they were shovel-ready, and they changed something about the project, and they had to go back to 250, but that was more than a year ago, I think. So has the select board heard anything more from Great Gulf about is it $1 billion project?
So all I can say is that we're having a meeting tomorrow, and it's new board members here, and we'll go through the projects. So thank you. We'll get it on a further agenda. Is there anybody else in the audience?
It's tomorrow at 10.
Yeah, I
Tomorrow.
can't find the raise hand thing, so I'd like
Well,
to raise my hand.
I haven't asked for anybody yet on Zoom yet, so hold on, Steve. Anybody
Okay.
else, anybody else in the audience? Not seeing anybody else's hand raised. Now we'll go to the Zoom, and Steve Finneran has, Steve Feiner, I'm sorry. Steve Feiner has already spoken up, and he has unmuted himself. So Steve, go ahead.
I just want to say that disappointed the budget got voted down, and I want to just publicly state that we voted the budget down, but we added potentially $200,000. Doesn't make sense to me, just my opinion.
Thank you. Anybody else online have something to say? A citizen's input?
Noreen, could you tell me your last name, please? Noreen's iPad.
Bender, B-E-N-D-E-R.
Okay.
She might just have a hard time
All
finding
right,
it.
you're all good, Noreen.
Okay, going through now, citizen concern, Board of Liquor Control is up next to the town clerk.
Okay, we have on the list North Star Hospitality LLC. I don't know if you realize that was sold in January, and this is a new owner, a new operating entity, and they are applying for a first-class and a third-class hotel liquor license, and I believe the general manager was on there, Matt Romano. Are you still on there?
Yeah, no, I'm here.
Okay, if you have any questions, or that's it for North Star Hospitality.
Matt, would you like to say anything?
No, I don't have anything to say, no.
So you're replacing your father, right? He was the manager for the older company for 15 years or so, 20 years?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. I'd like to get a motion from the board for North Star Hospitality, first class, third class, and an outside consumption limited permit.
I just have a first and a third. North Star Hospitality?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's Killington Restaurants. So North Star Hospitality, first class and third class, a motion to let the town clerk to move forward.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next is Killington Restaurants. It's a limited outside consumption. I gave you a copy of the map. It's for their Dazed and Defrosted event in April. The attached map has green and black lines to indicate their double fencing. In addition to their normal DLC license areas, they'll have this fenced-in area on the snow directly adjacent to the licensed patio and security on site.
I'd like to get a motion for the town clerk to move forward with Killington Restaurants, Inc. for an outside consumption permit.
So moved.
I get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next is Killington Deli and Marketplace. It's a tobacco license, tobacco substitute endorsement, and their second-class liquor license.
I'd like to get a motion for the town clerk to move forward with Killington Deli and Market, tobacco license, tobacco substitute endorsement, and a second-class license.
So moved.
A second? All in favor?
Aye.
And lastly is the Garlic. They're applying for their outside consumption permit.
I'd like to get a motion for the town clerk to move forward with the Garlic-G Inc. For an outside consumption permit.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Peggy.
Okay, that's it. Yep, thank you.
Do we have a treasurer's report? I didn't see it in the packet.
Yep, I just got them here.
I'll take two. Yes, one for Vito, one for me.
There's one. Two extras. Keep on. There's one extra.
So, I would like, since this is six, I mean, do you have anything you want to throw in on this, Monica, as the treasurer? Since we're just getting it right now, I'd like to move this to our next meeting to approval, since we're just getting in front of it in the future, if we can just have it prior so we can have questions. I would do it faster, but it's 6:54, and we have to open up the meeting.
Typically, when do we receive this?
When it's ready. Yeah,
Do we have it at least a couple days in advance of the
if
meeting?
it's ready. This wasn't ready until today.
So, and that's okay, but we would just like to, I would like to see it
Yeah, that's fine.
at least Friday before the meeting, that's all.
Any motion for this?
No, just, you know,
If it's getting moved out, we just.
I'd like to get a motion to table this until the next meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Since it's 6:50, we said we would move, Will, how long will January Way take? 2 minutes?
I was gonna say, I can do it in like 60 seconds.
Okay, let's go with that, okay?
Hello, everybody. Anybody that doesn't know me, I'm Will Austin. I'm the assistant town planner here in Killington. I've recently been working, I also deal with all of our driveway permits, and I'm the E911 coordinator, so I help set up addresses if anybody has a new build. I've been working recently with Emmett O'Dwyer. I don't know if he's online or not, but he came to my office a little bit ago and requested to change the name of the private road January Way. He owns all 3 parcels on there, and through my conversations with the state is open to changing the road name. It is a private road, so it does not have a very large impact on the town. There were some concerns that he had based on the mailing addresses of the three dwelling units that are located on January Way, And coincidentally, through my conversations with the state's E911 representative that I work with, we actually realized that the entire road was numbered incorrectly. So those 911 addresses do need to be cleaned up regardless, and so it kind of was easy enough to lump this all into one project. He's proposing that we change the name of January Way to Summit Drive, and that would correlate well with the Summit Road that is currently named, that is what January Way branches off of. Looking through the town's road naming ordinance that we have, all roads, either public or private, are either approved or denied by the select board. And so the only thing that we're requesting from the select board is a motion to approve me to move forward with the state on the renaming of January Way to Summit Drive and the renumbering of the 3 dwelling units on there to clean up for any E911 issues that might occur in the future. There's nothing that I need signed, I just need a motion and approval or denial based on the board's interpretation, and I'm happy to answer, any other questions or any comments that the board may have.
Prior to January Way, this was just named January Way within the last 8 years, 7 years?
I don't know the exact date, but yeah, it was changed from, I think it was either
Summit Path.
Summit Path was the original name of the road that then got changed to January Way. There's some, there's just been some, Emmett has had some, troubles with mailing, and coincidentally, one of the numbers on January Way is the same address number as the Mad Hatter ice cream shop, and so all of the mail and all of a lot of his information is being sent to the ice cream shop. So we're trying to fix this issue essentially.
So we can move forward with conversation. Can I get a motion to accept the renaming of January Way to Summit Drive?
Motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
It qualifies E911, so cleans up some nuance.
I mean, it's just a matter of a question of a person that now owns it. January owned it, and she changed the name, and then now January sold it, and then owns it, and we'd like to have a name change. So if there's no further discussion, I'd like to call a question. All those in favor of renaming January Way as Summit Drive, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we've got 1 minute for the public.
Jump one thing.
Can we just use the one, Jim, can we use the 1 minute just to tell people that next week there's a public meeting?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Sure. Next week there's a public meeting, Monday, 6 PM, Killington Road. It's what we've been calling phases 2 to 4, but it's now renamed phases 2. And we'll be presenting the concept plans for the reconstruction of Killington Road. Be in this room, open to the public. I really hope everyone will attend because it's important. What time? It starts at 6 o'clock, from 6 to 6:30. The plans will be affixed to the wall. They're quite large, as you can imagine, all of Killington Road from Anthony Way to the lookout. Will be put up, and people will have the opportunity to walk around and review the plans and kind of talk to our engineers. And then at 6:30, the engineers from VHB are going to make a presentation.
Next Monday, right?
Next Monday, yep.
A week from today.
Yep.
And at the same time, you want to mention tomorrow's meeting, just so everybody
Yeah,
hears it?
we can do that again. There's also, again, a meeting tomorrow on Killington Forward at 10 a.m. It's supposed to be 10 a.m. to about 11:30. It is located here. We also have the Zoom link that is online, and it will be with our Stephanie, who is our consultant on the Killington Forward TIF project, and information session for the select board members, but it is open to the public.
It's more of a work.
It's more of a work group than a meeting.
Right, so the public is welcome to come and listen in, but there's really
There's no action being taken.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So Will and Lisa, I think you're doing, because we warned to continue this hearing until today at 7 o'clock. I grabbed my copy. Will, I think you have other copies for
copy here for all the board members. Okay, well, I'm gonna leave this with you anyways, just because
Okay.
there's a couple letters of support that we have on there as
Okay,
well that
sure.
just wanted to include, of course.
So,
Bylaws, and there's also 2 pieces of correspondence that were submitted.
right. So Lisa, can you run through, we're here today, but you gave 3 options for the board
Sure.
since it's a new board and,
Sure.
but we had to open up the hearing.
Yeah, so there's, do you need to make a motion to open the public hearing?
Can I get a motion to open?
Move to open the public hearing on
Second.
the land development regulation here.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is a warrant public hearing. I guess I should help to stand, right?
Yeah, you're good.
This is a warrant public hearing for amendments to the town zoning bylaw, as well as a small map amendment. The significant change in the zoning bylaw is that the Planning Commission has been working and approved subdivision regulations. Subdivision, for people who don't know what it is, it's the actual dividing of land into plots, into lots. And so the town never really had subdivision regulations. We are now in the process of adopting subdivision regulations. There's multiple reasons why it makes sense for the town to adopt them. I'm not going to go through them unless people are interested. Okay, one is because Act 250, which I think everyone knows, which is the State Land Use Act, differentiates their involvement on whether a town has subdivision regulations or does not have subdivision regulations. So without subdivision regulations, if you're going to subdivide a lot into more piece of land, into 6 or more lots, you're subject to Act 250 review. If we have subdivision regulations, that threshold is increased to 10 lots. Similarly, on commercial properties, anything now on a 1-acre commercial property is subject to Act 250 review. If we have subdivision regulations, that goes up to 10 acres with some caveats, so it's not blanket, but that's one reason. Second reason really for me that I think it's important is because it's really important to the town. It's how we protect the resources of the town, which I think is really important. We want to encourage development, but we also want to be protective of, the town and do what's in best interest of the town, and I think subdivision regulations really help us achieve that. And then finally, and also very important, is that last year the state passed Act 181, and Act 181 is really the first ever changes to Act 250 since it first came into place about 30 years ago, maybe more. And Act 181 changes it so that there's now some location-based criteria, and it charged the regional planning commissions with preparing what's known as the future land use map. And based on designations of the future land use map, the towns have the potential to be exempt from Act 250. So in Killington, we've worked very, very closely with the Rutland Regional Planning Commission on future land use map, and they are recommending that the area kind of at the base of Killington Road and Route 4 be designated a village area, and that around that be designated as a planned growth area. And that would include the 70 acres that the town owns in which we want to develop affordable and workforce housing. And those designations would allow the town to move forward and apply for a Tier 1A or a Tier 1B designation. And those designations would give us an exemption from Act 250. And that's really important, because if we want to build affordable workforce housing in the town, and if we don't have to go through Act 250, that really shortens the time frame. We obviously still have to go to the Development Review Board, but without the Act 250 process, it really condenses the time frame, and it really promotes housing development. And that's really the purpose behind 181, is to encourage much-needed housing in the state of Vermont. If we do not adopt subdivision regulations, however, we know we don't meet the requirements for applying for Tier 1A and 1B, and we give up that opportunity. And we've been informed by Rutland Regional Planning Commission, who actually submit a letter to the town that subdivision regulations need to be in place by mid-April, and if they're not in place by mid-April, the area, the affordable housing site, would not be designated as a planned growth area, which means this would not be eligible for an Act 250 exemption. So just kind of putting that out there as to why I think it's really important we move forward with subdivision regulations. The Planning Commission spent close to a year working on the regulations. The Select Board has had, I think, 3 or 4 meetings on them. So this has been before the Select Board for quite some time. The regulations are also available online, and they've been in the clerk's office. I know there's been change in members of the Select Board, but I actually did reach out to Vermont League of Cities and Towns, and they assured us that the change in personnel doesn't have any bearing on our ability to move forward with them. It's not like we have to start from scratch because we have new members. It doesn't work that way. So there we have it. We've worked with the Select Board over the last, I guess we've had 3 or 4 meetings, and we've made some modifications to, so the process is Planning Commission, once they support the bylaws, it gets sent to the Select Board. The Select Board is the judicial body, has to approve those regulations for them to be in effect. So that's where we are. The Select Board's made comments and changes. The version before you actually redlines those changes that have been recommended by the Select Board. So I'm happy to walk everyone through the changes. If you feel like there are new members who want some time to review the regulations and continue the hearing to another date, that's fine. I mean, at this point, the Select Board can either discuss the regulations or they could continue the hearing, or they could close the hearing. If the hearing gets closed, the Select Board has 150 days to make a decision. The Select Board can actually still make some revisions once the hearing is closed, but cannot take any input from the public. So probably not a better idea. It's probably better to continue the hearing if you're still looking to make input on the regulations. So, if there's some new Select Board members who want to meet with us one-on-one to go through the regulations, Will and I are always available.
To save time, they both can meet up with you.
They both can, yes, right, just no more than 2. So,
So just Jennifer's letter from the...
yeah, I'm happy to read them into the record.
Yeah, but I think Jennifer meant to say April 17th. She put down March 7th.
No, at the time, we had been told by Rutland Regional it was March 17th.
I spoke to Devin.
And then
he
he told us mid-March, and then he said, I said mid-March to encourage you guys to do it, but the real drop dead date is mid-April.
So I'm just saying, if you want to read this, let's just make Jennifer know up to date and put it in mid-April instead of reading off.
Okay, would you like me to read it out loud into the record, or can everyone read it?
You want me to read it out loud?
Sure.
Okay, March 4, 2026, Killington Planning Commission. To the members of the Select Board, the Planning Commission voted on March 4, 2026 to recommend that the Select Board adopt the proposed land development regulations, including the subdivision regulations, with the changes recommended by the Select Board. The Planning Commission has devoted considerable effort to the developing these regulations, which are designed to address community needs without being excessive or unduly burdensome. We understand that the Select Board may want some additional changes to the regulations, and the Planning Commission is open to revisiting them later. Additionally, the Rutland Regional Planning Commission, or RPC, has informed the Planning Department that if the subdivision regulations are not adopted prior to now mid-April, of 2026, the town will lose the opportunity to apply for Tier 1A status. The Planning Commission, along with the Planning Department, worked extensively with the RRPC on the future land use map, FLUM. While the Land Use Review Board rejected RRPC's proposed FLUM, The revised revision includes the area around routes 4 and 100, as well as the 70-acre town-owned parcel in the village area. And when they say village area, it's a designation, it's not up above, it's down below. This enables the town to apply for a Tier 1A status, which would allow the site to be developed with affordable and workforce housing without being subject to Act 250 review. This will save time and resources, allowing faster construction of necessary housing. We believe it is in the interest of the town for the Select Board to adopt the land development regulations. Sincerely, Jennifer Antoni, Chair of the Killington Commission. Then we have a letter from the Rutland Regional Planning Commission to the town of Killington. Reference letter of support for adoption of subdivision regulations to enable Tier 1, this says Tier 1B.
I know, yeah, but
Eligibility under Act 181.
there's a nuance, but yeah,
I'm just,
I know.
we're talking about 1A, 1B, whatever, at this time.
right. Yeah, Devin was.
Dear Select Board members, the Rutland Regional Planning Commission, RRPC, writes in strong support of the town of Killington's efforts to adopt subdivision regulations that will unlock the eligibility for Tier 1B under Act 181. This is a critical and time-sensitive step that will position Killington to remain competitive for future housing and economic development opportunities. Across the Rutland region, 14 municipalities are currently eligible for Tier 1B designation. These communities are taking proactive steps to modernize land use regulations and remove unnecessary permitting barriers in order to facilitate well-planned growth. Municipalities that act now will pave the way for future development and will be more likely to receive early attention and prioritization from developers seeking regulatory certainty and streamlined review. We recognize that subdivision regulations, like all land use bylaws, are not static documents. They are intended to evolve over time as community needs, market conditions, and state policy change. The RRPC strongly encourages the town not to be perfect, the enemy of the good. Adoption now preserves eligibility and opportunity. While future amendments can and should be made as conditions warrant, time is of the essence. Acting promptly to adopt subdivision regulations ensures that Killington can fully leverage the benefits of Act 181, including reduced permitting, friction, and improved alignment with the region's future land use map and housing goals. Delaying action risks forfeiting near-term opportunities that are essential to addressing housing supply, workforce needs, and long-term economic vitality. The RRPC appreciates the considerable effort of the Planning Commission and Select Board in advancing these regulations and stands ready to continue providing technical assistance as the town refines and updates its land use framework in the future. Sincerely, Devin Neary, Executive Director. So, does anybody have any questions or any statements that they would like to make at this point?
Well, I would like to say that I would like to have the chance to review this really small document. I've attended, well, via Zoom, a couple of these meetings, and in person as well. There has been a lot of changes, a lot of, well, there's even notes here from the RRPC guy that we need to remove unnecessary permitting barriers in order to facilitate well-planned growth. Now, in the discussions that I was witness to, there were some unnecessary barriers in the subdivision regs, proposed subdivision regs themselves. So that's why I would like to go through this on my own and have a chance to digest it, and maybe even given the rest of the community a little more time to digest what's going to happen. I fully support the idea, the notion of aiming for the Tier 1A or 1B status, because I think it moves things along, keep moving Killington forward. So I would like to try and get it done by mid-April.
Bill, do you have something?
Yeah, basically, I'd like to thank Jennifer and by abstraction Devin as well, okay, over the last multiple meetings at the Select where we've had a lot of conversations. We got hung up quite a few times on duplicative language and stuff like that, which we talked about needed to be edited out, okay, and for the document to be cleaned up. I appreciate that they said that we could adopt the document, and then the planning commission would be open to revising the document later on, okay, to make it a better document for everybody to use. Okay, I do appreciate that. And that might be the way to go for this, given that we are running into time-sensitive situations, okay, with how the various committees are working. We know that from the discussions earlier, that once we have proposed land use documents, that those are the land use documents that the zoning administrator uses, okay, to do their job, okay? So they are technically in effect right now, okay, even though they haven't been officially approved, okay? So I would think that a valid measure that the board could pursue would be to approve these with a request to the planning commission to come back within 6 months, to come back with a streamlined document that has some of the duplicative language taken out of it, so that it makes for a easier reading for everybody involved.
I do want to add one thing, which I failed to mention, and I apologize for that. When I reached out to the attorney at Vermont League of Cities and Towns, she also reminded me that while the select board can certainly make changes to the document, if changes are significant, and there's no definition for significant, so I'm not going to, but if there are changes that are significant, the document actually goes back to the planning commission, and the select board must rewarn a new hearing with a 15-day or 14-day notice period.
Yeah.
So just, while certainly welcome changes, if they move into that threshold of significant, we go back to the planning commission, so.
Well, basically, what I would think is that, if we accepted the documents now, the planning commission would take a certain amount of time actually to go through the document, and then we would rewarn it, okay, through a normal
But we wouldn't have
process.
the pressure at that point.
Right, we wouldn't have the pressure of time on us.
And we also have a couple other zoning changes. We need to deal with banners and primitive camps. We keep a list of ongoing. Zoning administrator often points out inconsistencies or, bad interpretations of the zoning bylaw.
Wrong. Wrong interpretations.
Whatever, whatever, we keep a list of ongoing, so it is
Hard
it is
to
a fluid document, so we actually do have some other items that we need to get changed once we get through this, so it's kind of a never-ending process.
John, do you have something to say?
Lisa, thank you for speaking. I guess my first question is, in terms of significant changes, do you have a sense of what that means? Because it's a pretty broad statement, right?
There's no definition when you
Sure.
go through the State Enabling Act. It just says significant changes,
And then in terms of, just based on your experience, knowledge, because this is your professional space,
Appreciate that.
statistically speaking, what's the likelihood we achieve a 1A status?
I think it's reasonable. Devin has, told me that he feels confident that we have the resources, but, I think it's important that we need to have a planning department, and we need to have, a staff, so.
Because if it's a low likelihood, then I'm not sure it's worth pushing.
I'm gonna stop with the 1B for everything that we're talking about, which is more of a definite.
Right.
The 1B gets us the housing and everything.
Right, 1B gets us 50 units, exempt from Act 250, so that's not insignificant.
At each period.
Right, so 1B is the fallback to 1A, and certainly if we have subdivision regs, we will be 1B. They feel we have a good chance. I participate on the 1A group with our planners throughout the state, and, I don't see any reason why we won't get it, but, there is a land use review board that will make that determination or not.
Hold on. Ricky, do you have anything?
So then I guess I'll just finish with, for myself, in saying that I would just like a little time to review the document a little more in depth.
Just a quick elucidation. What distinguishes A from B?
Under 181, they've made a designation of Tier 1A, Tier 1B, they actually have Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4.
The difference is what you just said, 1B would get you 50 housing sites.
Right.
What does 1A get you?
1A will get you unlimited,
Okay.
okay?
As long as you're within a village area.
Right, right,
So-
well, what's designated as 1A. or
Right.
1B.
Okay, thank you.
So the 2 points I just want to hit, so is, if, my understanding was, if this does not, if we do not have zoning regulations by,
Subdivision.
subdivision regulations by April, it will not be included in the map, and
Mid-April.
therefore,
Mid-April.
mid-April.
We would not be eligible for either 1A
Either.
or 1B.
Right.
It cuts us
And they
out.
draw the map every 8 years.
Right, I mean, there's some discussion about trying to get the
Hopefully it can
map
be sooner, but.
more sooner, but basically, when the Rutland Regional Plan Commission updates its regional plan, that's when it updates the future land use map, so it's a good point. So it's a pretty, I think it's
Yeah.
important, we spent a lot of time working on the future land use map. Jim participated, we went to the hearings, we were quite active, because I think we all feel that the Tier 1A and the Tier 1B would be a really important benefit to the town. I mean, we were hoping to get larger area designated, but I think at least getting the affordable housing site or workforce housing is important to the town.
And the second part is, we have to reopen this, once it, even if it passed today, we would have to reopen it, because there has been legal changes that invalidate some of our ordinance bylaws in there.
Oh, so how does that affect the timing of things?
So,
No.
I let everybody else going around or whatever.
Oh, yeah, you want to speak?
Yeah, so, this is very important, and Lisa and I have worked a lot on this. Okay? I do believe that there are some more changes that need to go through. I do believe the 2 board members need to go through it. I think they should sit down with Will and Lisa. I do believe that this board needs to set an appointment ASAP to come back to continue this hearing. I know next Monday night there is a meeting
We
here.
have the
that
public
you talk-
meeting,
You have
yeah.
the public meeting. I'd like to, I personally, I mean, and I get it, we've met, this is our 4th meeting, I believe,
But, yeah,
okay?
it's spread out quite a bit.
But the planning commission has.
Fifth, Will says fifth.
Okay, 5, right, but let's be honest here, the planning commission, to get it to a point, did it in a year, okay? And you were meeting 2 times a month, so you've had quite a few meetings, and I get the urgency of this, but I believe this board, with everyone reading through the red line, that if we can come to an agreement of meeting up another day next week, okay, other than Monday, or the following week, we throw it on our next board meeting. And I think with John and Vito sitting down with Lisa and Will, we can then come back and make at that meeting, have a decision, which is before March is ending, which gives us a 2-week window that we're on time, ahead of time of this rush. And I did speak to Devin Neary 2 days ago. He gave me a phone call, and he did mention that he believes that the map is getting changed a little bit, and the LURB is, and that's the Land Use Review Board, the LURB is relaxing some rules, and they believe that they can include in their Rutland Regional Plan more along the Killington Road, heading up further to be outside of, to be in this here.
So it's even more important to do
Right,
it.
so it's very important, and it's huge for commercial properties moving to 10 acres instead of 1, except for like hotels and stuff like that would be a little, that might still have to go.
Depends on the impact.
It depends on the impact. But anyway, before we make a motion of sending this to another date here, to commence on another date, is there any questions from the public in the audience right now on this subject? Not seeing any hands raised in the public in person. Is there anybody that has a question online in Zoom? And if you can't raise your hand for some reason, just unmute and speak up. We'll give a couple of seconds. Not seeing anybody. Okay, I would like the
Jim, I have
board.
one quick question, I'm sorry. You're saying putting up housing, who's paying for the housing?
George, this is for developers.
Okay,
Okay, this is for developers. The
This is
town's
not the town
the
putting up
town's not
houses.
building houses.
okay, thank you.
The town may, on that piece of property that we own, go out and solicit companies to build houses. And there are certain companies out there, up in Middlebury Hospital. One company bought land from Middlebury Hospital, and they are building on their dime. And they're actually paying some kind of money for the land to come back.
Well, I just don't want to see the taxpayer pay for it.
Yeah, we're not building housing.
Thank you.
Okay? So, I'm throwing out to this board right now, if you can take a look, and if Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday does not work, let's just say that, and if you want to come back to the following Monday, so let's just, where do you stand?
Following Monday.
Okay, Bill?
I think the following Monday, I think we can, maybe you can coordinate messages with people just in case they have questions or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
23rd.
yeah,
That's what we follow Monday.
Not this Monday.
The regular meeting.
Regular meeting.
Yeah.
2 weeks from
regular
today.
meeting. Yeah.
John? Does that give you enough time?
It gives me enough time, I'm worried that we need to be budget-focused, but we need to be focused on this, too, so that's the only concern I
Well, but I-
have. That's the only concern I have for the 23rd, is we're gonna start stacking priorities.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I think, Jim, I think the question is, not the question on, but what are we trying to do? We're trying to review the document, we're trying to determine if there's any additional minor changes that need to be made above and beyond the red lines that we've already did, or do the red lines for the new members need to be changed? Okay, and then we can either approve the document as it sits, or we can approve the document as it sits with a recommendation to the planning commission, or we can deny approving the document and basically go back into a major review, which I don't think anybody wants to do because of the April deadline.
Well, I don't think I'm kind of like pushing the April deadline off. It's something that we need to do.
Right, yeah,
We need to
I
do.
agree, I
We
agree.
need to do.
Yeah.
I'm not being pushed by a deadline.
So that would basically say the choices are we either accept the document with any other minor changes that we might come up with, or we accept the document and make a request to the planning commission to come back with changes in some period of time.
So I would like the two board members, John and Vito, to set up a time and a date before the next hearing to get to Lisa and Bill to listen and go through. And then Ricky and Bill, if you want to sit down and just go through something, maybe the two of you can set up a time, a date to go through, or even if it's just questions and email to to Will and Lisa.
We're always available.
Okay.
Yeah, that one meeting, I was sick, so I missed quite a bit, that
Right,
one
yeah.
meeting. so-
Right. So if you can go through this document that Will has taken the time and redline, and he's given us the whole, so there's not red lines on everything here. So if you guys can just go through it, I think you two would be better off sitting down with. We've kind of sit through it.
Yeah, we've sat through it.
And if you have any questions, please just send them to Lisa and Will, and I will speak to them also.
I want to point out, we've redlined the changes from, that the select board have made, but the entire subdivision regulation, which is Article
11.
Article 11, that is all new.
Right.
So that's all actually
Right.
redlined, because it's all new from the existing
But it's still,
zoning.
Article 11 is redlined, you're saying, in this
Well, we
document.
didn't redline it
Okay.
here, because we
Okay.
only redlined changes to Article 11, but I just want everyone to understand that Article 11 does not currently exist in the zoning bylaws. The rest of the zoning bylaws exist, but Article 11 is all new.
Well, Article 11 has been in front of the board 4 times
Right.
with the red line changes. So maybe some of the red line changes you agree with, and maybe something that's not red line.
That's what the focus should be on.
Yeah, on Article 11.
On Article 11.
Okay.
Not that you shouldn't go through the entire document, but the focus should be on Article 11. And in terms of the entire document, we actually can only change what was like warned in the hearing. So a lot of the existing zoning bylaw, we can't even make changes to it right now, because it wasn't a warrant.
And I would say the bit about a material change, the planning commission was charged by the select board back a little while ago to come up with subdivision regulations. So anything is not really, we're moving forward with subdivision regulations, so I wouldn't think anything is going to be material because it is going to be a change. Okay? So can I get a motion to continue the hearing of subdivision regulations to Monday night, March 23rd at 6:30 PM?
At 6:30 is when we start, how about 7?
So 7 o'clock, at 7 o'clock, the hearing starts.
Motion to continue the hearing on subdivision regulations for March 23rd, 7 PM, 2026.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Going back to,
Now we got, we got select board discussion. We moved 9 to after that. That was the motion in the beginning. We put the select board discussion in front of town manager's report.
we moved 8 in front of 7, then 9 in between those two, and then 7, then 10.
I'm telling you that the vote was that we put that, and then we said 9 was going.
9 to 8.
It is.
9 to 8.
Manager's report is 9.
Manager's report is 9.
Yeah.
We moved 9 to 8, and manager's report down to 9. And Ricky, you agree with that, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, we
So
moved,
what are you doing now, then?
We're moving to select board discussion.
that was item
Okay.
10.
No, item number 10 is citizens' concerns. You know what, I'm working off of the old, I don't have the new one.
Oh,
That's what
why.
it is.
This is what I
yeah,
wrote down in my
Yeah,
notes,
yeah,
so.
well, so-
yeah.
That's why our numbers are different.
Mark-
Yeah, that's
off
why the
of my
numbers are
packet.
different, yeah.
Okay? I think you're working off of mine too, the same one. So, anyway, select board discussion. A, planning for redeveloping the 2027 budget. So, the budget did fail the other day, and I would like first asking, has there been any discussion in town hall of the budget failing to come back to us with anything?
Yeah, it's been talked about, yeah.
So, has there been any, we're planning to redevelop it, has there been any input from departments or anything like that that you would like to share, I guess is what I'm asking.
Direction from the board,
Okay. Direction from the board as far as?
where you would like to, what you would like to see different.
Okay. So I'm going to open it up to the board. Any suggestions here?
I think we should chop the paving budget. I mean, I'm all about roads, but if people, if people want to, I mean, I just find it foolish that an audit was passed for $200,000, you're spending money on that, but you shoot down the budget because you don't want to spend the money. Doesn't make sense to me, so why not just chop the budget for, the paving budget for 1 year?
Well, the problem with looking at it that way, if you noticed that the forensic audit, except for you,
Thank you for saying
had the
that.
largest margin of any other article or
Oh, I thought you were saying
personal
something
election.
else.
So people want, I was surprised it was passed by such overwhelming numbers, and both of them. Okay, I'd rather not have that 200,000 around our necks like a millstone. It's a lot of money, I don't think it needs to cost that much, but we're gonna have to discuss some way, perhaps, of paring that number down. I don't want to get too far into this, but my suggestion to Patrick in my discussions with him was to perhaps talk to the people who have already provided estimates on the forensic budget.
We're not, we're doing redeveloping the budget. right
Just
now.
redo the budget first.
That's all, we're not getting into the
Yeah,
forensic.
I think really the issues we had on the budget was the budget was driven by.
Okay, let's go to the budget.
The budget was driven by 2 terms. Okay, one term was the increase to the operational spending, which was roughly
200,000.
3.6%,
3.6.
7%, somewhere around there.
Up to 12.
And then the deficit spending that was put forward for the past year, which was somewhere around 9%. Okay, and so the question is, what number, can this board identify a quote-unquote tax increase number that we want to look at? Okay, if you ignore the tax increase for a minute, the actual budget, okay, was actually only a 6% increase. The numbers that we're really dealing with were the taxes, which were increasing more because of the way the budget was put together. Okay, so can we come up with a target that we can give Patrick to try to reach? Do we have a target that we can try to reach? What do you think we can change?
I think the other thing we should do is it's time to start thinking about the options tax on the sales portion there. I mean, I think that's one way to create some revenue.
There was not, we said we would bring that up, and we put in charge to the town manager something, and without that or whatever. John, do you have anything to say before I say anything?
Well, I think the assumption that it's strictly about saving money in the budget may be a misplaced assumption. I think, yes, we need to look for opportunities to save money in the budget. That would be the target and the goal, the objective. However, I also feel taxpayers would like to see more bang for their dollar. So that would include things like paving, some of the access roads, so on and so forth. So, yes, we definitely need to look for savings, but I think it may be a bit of a misnomer just to say the only reason the budget was rejected was because of the statistical component of it.
So the last time a budget was failed was 2011, contrary to whatever, the board came back and said make a 10% cut and put it out to all the departments to come up and take a look at their budgets and see if they can, what they can do up to 10%. That's one avenue that we can do, okay? I've had quite a few people call me. They like to see the roads being taken care of. I'm going to echo what you just said, that people are saying, you know, I've got some people telling me, you guys had a conversation in the beginning and saying, health plans, we pay more than 20%. What happened to 20%? Okay? Raises, if it's this much of a critical thing, why are you giving a raise out?
Cost of living adjustments.
Whatever, cost of living adjustments, it's a raise, okay?
Get a raise in Social Security.
Patrick, I'm speaking, please, okay? Then, on top of it, they're also saying, you know, Jim, I think you messed up, okay? When it came up for whatever the bond payment that was misplaced and paid for, okay? You should have just went with Bill and said, move it to a vote for. So that's another thing that we could do, okay? What concerns me is, like, people are shocked that, or we're saying, like, we should have passed this budget, but yet somewhere on here was solar panel discussion or whatever that has come up many times. So I think, talking with you today, that there's $208,000 that nobody really, none of the board members could ever really see because it was a subcommittee category or whatever. So it's $208,000. What I would like is that, what else is out there? Okay, I think you mentioned to me today that somebody did a manager did $147,000 number or whatever of a carry.
Budget.
That was in last year's budget.
It's in last year's budget or whatever.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
actually there.
Current.
So,
year, sorry.
but, you know, my conversation with you is, like, a lot of times, you know, this board sits here and we're given information, Bill and Ricky, and we're told, yeah. You know, the $300,000 carryover 1 year, whatever, that came from, it should have come from the auditor to the town manager. We, not gonna be questioning, but that's, or they just
It was
copied
just
it from
bad.
the. It was, but that was a manager
Yeah.
position thing, okay? So what I would like to see is, first off, getting what really the debt is, okay? That's what I would like to see, what the real debt is, the 300 for the missed payment, or not missed, the payment.
Really,
If it
yeah.
wasn't paid that day.
It'd still be a
We were
debt.
gonna be in default.
Right.
We would have been in default. So would you rather have paid the loan or not pay the loan and be in default? That will not look good, okay? And, but I want to see that. I would like to see the solar panels and any other items out there so we can get a real number. And I think the townspeople, if it's 600,000, 700,000 or whatever of numbers that have been
Carried for years.
bad choices or whatever, that we put it out in the next budget for a vote for a bond, okay? You can do it.
Actually, I'm not sure you can. I would suggest we get legal
Well-
opinion on that, because I actually did go through the VSAs on that, okay? And specifically for municipal indebtedness, debt may be incurred and bonds issued under the subchapter for any improvement, but no bond shall be issued for the purpose of providing funds for ordinary expenses for any municipal corporation except as otherwise provided. So it was, the VSAs are pretty specific about the select board has to put deficits, okay, into tax increases. And they have this language that, you know, bonds are supposed to build things, okay? And I did pull this today. I'm not saying that that's exactly true. I'm not a lawyer, so please
Well, I'm
don't
not
take this
either.
as legal advice, okay? This would be something we would have to get legal advice to be sure that we're doing it correctly.
So number one, on that side, we need to get the correct amount of mishaps.
And here's the
Okay.
VSAs on that.
So then I can go back to the people that talked to me and say it was the right decision the last time, because I think some wanted to do it, and I said no.
Well, I think the thing is, on the bond payment that we paid early, I think we could probably fit that in because it was a
Probably
bond.
solar panels,
But,
too.
but,
Well, the solar panels was
Yeah.
not an ordinary
Yeah.
thing either, so let's talk to legal.
Yeah.
And find out from legal, but first, let's get the total numbers.
but I would say the expense and revenue shortfalls, okay, that's a gray area. I mean, the VSAs imply you can't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So just to lay it out for you guys, with the solar panels, it's 208.
208.
But we'll call it 200,000. Forensic audit, there's another 200,000. And then
Well, the forensic audit, just so you know, just like the school had 3 separate votes, the voters are supposed to know that when you're voting on, and then any additions is automatically add to the tax rate. So
Right.
I believe if we're at a 1.8 or $2 billion grand list when we get the number, okay, that 1 cent is going to raise around 190 grand. That's what I believe, okay? So if you take the total
Right.
amount of 6 million or whatever and divide it by, you know, the grand list, I think you're gonna come up with about $187,000, $190,000. So it's about a penny to tax, but that's automatic.
Right, I was gonna
That's
say,
automatic.
that's
I'm not saying
include
throw
the
that in
budget.
as the bond. I'm
No,
not
no, no,
saying-
no, I'm not, that's what I'm saying. I'm just keeping account. So right now, we're at 12, or it's 12, 13% increase. Each 50,000 is about 1%. So with this extra 400,000, if it were to be in the budget, we'd be looking at, what is it? 4, 8, 12, 20, so a total 20% increase. So even if we bond out some of that, we're going to need to lower some spending. So I'm still looking for direction in where.
We're sticking on this first, okay? So on here, it was look into the solar panels and look into the FEMA debt,
Right, we have that.
because Irene has never gone away yet, okay? So those two there, let's get legal opinion, okay? To move to a bond,
Yeah, are they bondable?
okay?
If any of the debt is attributable to things that the town built,
Right.
okay, can we move that to a bond?
Right, and we're not gonna find out tonight,
Right.
No.
okay? So you can throw in some of the other costs and just see which are, okay, some of the other shortfalls or whatever, the 147 or whatever else there.
We're thinking 10-year?
Get 5 to 10.
Yeah.
And throw a 7 in there also, 5, 7, 10. So we can figure out what it's gonna be, okay? I don't know, I'm sure if I gave Rob a chance to speak in the audience right now, okay, he would probably say, in a business world or whatever, if you find out that you have a deficit or you have something that you have to make up, any hiring is frozen for now, okay? There's no hiring right now.
So we are in the process of hiring a Department of Public Works Director.
There is, no.
Okay.
Okay?
That's,
That's a direction, okay?
And I would say that that might be, that's a legitimate direction, because we have to deal
Well,
with the
that's-
2026 budget, and we have
Well, I would just like to give a little
about a
history.
quarter for that.
I'd like to give a
Okay,
little
so-
history on this. We had hired Abby Sherman as a Public Works Director, and her job was to come in for a few years, and you could go to many meetings and listen to many recordings. Her job was only supposed to be there until the water line came on, and she was going to then come off of the general fund budget and move over to the water division, okay? And then it would fall back to, like, the town roads would go back to foreman with the town manager. That was the plan, and that is what really supposed to happen.
the current understanding and job posting for Department of Public Work is to oversee the construction related to Killington Forward and TIF.
Right. And I'm going to tell you that there are companies out there that we can subcontract that is not going to be there is.
Still a cost.
It's a cost, but that will then go directly to the
We can
TIF.
bill it against the TIF.
Okay, which is a mistake that we've had subcontractors and then have taken them on full-time, that we were going, and we cannot take a full-time employee. Talking to anyone else that has TIF, like Dominic Cloud up in St. Albans, you're asking for an audit if you start trying to break out someone's time. But in the TIF, you can hire someone on, an outside third-party, independent third-party, to oversee the construction of the water line and of the road. And as a matter of fact, we have one good instance, okay, where Dufresne's group is overseeing the water. We have one bad instance on a cobblestone thing that was overseen by that, but that was an in-house. I suggest we go to a independent third party, and we have that road. If this road is going to be built in the next 4 or 5 years over the course of, and I believe, Lisa, the RAISE grant is being overseen by V-Trans anyway at this time. And then we're going to have somebody else overseeing the work.
V-Trans requires us to have a minister project manager, which we have, who's an engineer, who's terrific. And then we also have to hire a construction inspection firm. For Phase 1A of the road, USDA is requiring us to have a construction inspection firm or individual on board before they actually allow us to go to bid. I think the decision was made that it would be better to go to an independent third party because VHB, who did the design, who also did the inspection for 1B, besides, maybe some issues, they're very busy because they're working on 1A and phases 2 to 4, so they're pretty swamped regardless. So I think the decision is that we should hire an independent construction inspection firm. But there is still a whole construction project, and, I don't have that expertise.
Why not ask you?
To me, I've been kind of doing a lot of public works director work, and yet we're getting to that point where it might be beyond my skill set to do it. I think I've stepped in, done a good job keeping everything together, but as we move into the construction phase, it's really not my wheelhouse.
So I'd like to make a motion that we move forward with hiring on this third-party independent contractor to engineer to oversee it, which we've already heard from Lisa saying, that's what we already agreed to. So why we're creating this position, I don't know. So can I get a second?
I'll second.
Can I get any discussion?
Well, I'm just wondering, when do we need to do that? I mean, is there an urgency that we do that now, or are we
think
talking
we-
something that we should be doing?
Yeah.
Where are we in terms of urgency on that? Because any expense we can put off, okay, we're better off putting it
Well,
off.
for phase 1A of the road,
Can you just tell people that here, they may not know
so
what?
phase 1A is the portion of Killington Road from East Mountain Road to the intersection of the Lookout Bar and Grill, plus a small section of East Mountain Road from the intersection of Killington Road to approximately the Grand Hotel, as well as the reconstruction of Old Mill Road and the construction of a new Road H. That together is, that includes a roundabout. The intersection of East Mountain Road and Killington Road will be converted to a roundabout. So that project in its entirety is phase 1A. We are funding that, we have a permanent funding, we're still kind of working on the interim financing, but permanent funding through the USDA, the Development Agency, to provide a low-interest loan. One of their requirements before we could bid the project is that we get a construction inspection firm on board. So I'm in the process of putting together an RFP to hire the firm. We won't hire them immediately, but we will want to bring them on before we go out to bid, and we're hoping to go out to bid sometime June, probably is optimistic, but June, July, August, I mean, that's what we're thinking of going to bid. So we would need to bring that firm on board, but they really wouldn't be doing much until later on.
Okay, excuse me, there's so many moving parts, okay, I might get something wrong, but I believe that 1A is in the design phase right now with,
100%, design plans are 100% complete.
plans are complete, okay? And so they're just waiting for,
We're waiting for a couple of things. The primary delay is Act 250. And I think tomorrow some of this will be discussed. But
I mean, the
primary delay is Act 250, and then we need to finalize all the USDA requirements, which we're working through. And then we need some property easements, which we're in the process of securing. So those are the three items that are kind of preventing us from moving forward with the road.
so if we brought in a third party, we're, what, beginning of the fourth quarter of this calendar quarter?
Very little money overseeing, and then once they start constructing, then they're there every
Right,
day.
because
Well, no, I know, yeah, I'm just
We
trying to figure out timing here.
we have to go
That
out.
impacts the
We
budget.
have to go out.
Well, it sounded more like the first quarter.
Or is it the first quarter of,
Would be the first
of
quarter.
27,
That's when
yeah,
the majority of the work.
right.
They would be reviewing plans before that, though.
Well, yeah, they'd have to be brought in to review the plans before the
Well, they
construction.
would
I got-
review the plans, they'd also review the bid package, they'd also review the construction, before we award the contractor, they would participate in help us.
I mean, where I'm coming from is that I made a motion to remove, to move to this third party, and then listening, why do we have a position in here if the USDA already says we need to have this third party? So now we're going to have a position to pay $95,000 plus benefits to do what we have to do for USDA
Well, it's a
anyway?
little different, because construction inspection is only looking at construction inspection.
Right.
So, a Public Works Director would oversee, the whole process, right?
Right, but-
A lot of which I'm doing now, like preparing this RFP that.
I just come back to the part of Abby was hired and she was going to move over once the water. How we got another public works director into a budget, I'll just call it another one, or like you're gonna say, like,
Been carried for years, yeah.
no, it was because there was a position for Abby to be, and then she was supposed to move over this fall to the water. And that division was gonna go away, and we have a road foreman and a town manager that oversees existing roads that are put up. So, we can go round and
One
round.
question on it, but are there, I thought part of our grants, there's some grants that
Yeah,
specifically
we
mean
read through
that,
our
are
grant
they gonna be
application.
okay with a contracted?
Well, when you read through our grant applications, we do write the fact that we're gonna have a public works director managing the water and road project, so,
part
It's
of
also,
the
yeah. so-
big grants.
So right now, I have a motion on the floor to hold off, a motion on the floor, and I guess we don't have to because there's a third-party contractor that's supposed to oversee the project. So I'll withdraw my motion right now to stop that conversation. Who seconded?
I think I did.
Okay, so-
Yeah, I will withdraw the
Okay.
second.
I'm going to come back to that the board is instructing, so I would like to get a motion that there is no new hiring until we figure out the budget.
Second.
Any conversation?
I have clarification. So we have had termination recently in the highway crew. Can we fill newly vacant holes?
Right now, the motion on the floor is no new hires. Even if people are fired or quit, there's no new hires until, we expect to have this thing done within 3 weeks, so I think you can wait 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, that's what I want to be, that's what I want clear.
So we have to
That's
come
fine.
through. So this is no new hiring while we are doing the budget. Okay, any questions?
Clean to me.
Okay. Can I get a,
I'll second it.
Is it open to the public, Jim?
I'll go to the public and the audience. Go ahead, George Brandt.
George Brad. Bill, when you're talking to the lawyer, you're redoing the budget.
Well, Bill's not, Patrick is talking to the lawyer.
Oh, I was talking to the lawyer.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You're redoing the budget. You gotta explain to him, it's not a budget that's set, and then you're trying to bond out afterwards. You're redoing a budget. If you set a budget, I feel that if you were gonna do a bond, you would have it as a package in your thing, as we did for the FEMA. I mean, that was in the budget. You understand, you paid the $300,000, but that was set in the budget that you made a bond on it. So I think you can do that.
And we're gonna
I think it would
find
be a smart
out.
move to do that.
Yeah, we're gonna talk to the
But as
town.
far as the roads go, if you don't touch these roads, there's gonna be no road. I mean, I don't know where you guys are coming from, man. I mean, you were supposed to patch them last year, but no one took care of it, correct? That was supposed to be cold patch the roads?
They did cold patch some of it. It got pulled up.
The access road?
Yeah,
I didn't see him patch hardly anything.
they did.
Should have been done last summer and the summer before, early on.
Yes.
I'm talking
Yes,
before,
that's what
I'm talking
trying to say.
before
You
Chad
just-
took over late in
There's
the
a
year.
way to do
because-
this, because you are gonna redo the road. Eventually,
Right, yeah.
the tip will come in, and it's gonna be a brand-new road. So you don't wanna put a new road in, but
Right.
you do wanna patch that up.
Oh, it is TIF too.
And it's not just the access road, which everyone's saying, go up Roaring Brook, go up the other roads, they're not good. So don't try to cut the budget on the roads. It's
Any other input from the audience? Go ahead, Andrew Gita.
At the informational meeting, I did ask Patrick what's our budget for fixing the roads, and the answer was minus 212,000. Correct, Patrick?
The current reserve fund balance is.
Not the budget, not
Yeah,
Yeah, so
budget
the
is
balance.
2,000. Yeah.
We're expecting 290,000 back from FEMA, but for us to receive that, we have to paint the markings on the road, and that's not gonna happen probably till June, July, August, right? And then we're gonna send them the bill, they're gonna take their time between 3, 6, and 9 months to pay us back. So in the meantime, we have a hole in the budget. The budget didn't pass. We had the deficit of 488,000, and we just added the solar panel, right, for 208,000. So our deficit is growing, as you guys can hear, so let's call it 700. Plus, we're in the process of financial audit that's uncovering other things like daily, like this solar panel came up again because it was just found by the auditor. So we're expecting that that number is gonna go higher, call it $1 million, and then we have to fix the Killington Road that everybody wants to fix, especially the resort, because everybody's traveling this road, and the Killington Road looks like a class 4 road. And my example was, Dave Atherton got a quote to pave 1 lane from Anthony Way to the West Hill Road. That was $141,000 last year. So if you take that section and go 4 times, we're looking at $700,000 to pave just 1 lane to take care of 1 lane going up the mountain. So the deficit is actually bigger. Thank you.
I just want to throw in that that's not a deficit, that's something to move forward with. And I think this is another great reason that Andrew's putting out there, that this budget should have failed because we need to take care of our roads, okay? And I believe that's what we need to take care of. And what I've seen over decades and decades, every single time, nobody here wants, the municipal tax rate, I'm going to say again, is not the problem in this town. It is the education tax, okay? And hopefully the education changes quickly, okay? Hopefully. But we can't
Bank on it.
bank on that.
Nor can we control it.
But the problem that is every single time, sitting on a board, you get folks saying they want a lower budget, and most people give in. If you remember, this budget, when it first came out, we were at $300,000 in this current year for the paving. And the budget that was presented to us at first, Bill and Ricky, was 100. We went through a bunch of changes to get to something, okay? And then upped it back to 225, all right? So there's 225 that we can. I would like us to work on something to maybe get even something more into, because our taxpayers, when I talk to them or they're calling me, it is the health benefits, they don't feel it's fair. They don't think raises should happen, or COLA, whatever you want to call them, should happen, okay, while we're having this kind of issues. They believe we need to put more money into the roads, and we have to start facing the facts. So, that's that there. So this conversation right now is, we're talking about, we didn't take the vote yet on the hiring of freezing. And we put it out to the audience, and the only info that we're looking for now is if anybody has anything on the freeze, since we said that we will go on every single question out to the public, okay? This is on a hiring freeze. State your name, Don Martin.
Don Martin, Jim, I don't know if this is the time to say it, but when the budget goes out for the folks to approve, why don't we have a line item for each item? So if it's roads, if they want to pick the roads, if everyone feels so strongly, I think it should be line item, in my opinion.
Or I guess it'd be a department like amended.
And the board will take that into consideration, okay? We will. Anybody else in the audience? Raise your
Well,
name,
it's dealing with freezing.
first name,
Rob Kowaleski.
last name. Go ahead.
So, unfortunately, in my life, I've lived through numerous unfortunate situations where companies have to make tough decisions when sales are not as robust as they should be. There's other issues that come up competitively, et cetera. And in situations like that, very often, things that are examined are, one, you're spot on, you freeze hiring. Number two, they stop any additional spending on whether it be salary increases or COLAs or whatever you want to call them. That's out the door for a period of time. It could be a whole year.
Right now, we're just talking about freezing.
Okay, well, but that is freezing. That's what I'm talking about.
We'll get to that.
All right.
Okay. Anybody else in the audience? Anybody online on the Zoom? And there's somebody in the waiting room. I think Ole got kicked out.
Oh, he did.
He wanted to come back in. Is there anybody else online that would like to give information on the board's discussion of hiring freeze? Until the budget is complete, which we're thinking is 2 to 3 weeks.
I do want to just say,
Lisa, say your name.
Lisa Davis, you're only talking about it for a short period of time, but just bear in mind that the water department at some point will have to get expanded. Now, that is designed, so I guess it becomes self-sustaining.
The water department is not part of the general fund budget.
Okay, so.
The water
outside-
department is its own division.
Right, so it's outside of this discussion.
They set their budget.
You're talking about any hiring within the general budget.
Right.
Golf course can hire the
Yeah.
people for the summer.
Yeah, this is,
Yeah.
the golf course has.
Camp counselors can be hired for camps.
Yeah.
They're in the budget.
They're in but camp counselors, I'm saying, those are positions already there. There's no new hiring. Camp counselors aren't going to be hired for another couple of weeks. We're going to have a budget going out, but they can be hired. So other than the seasonal, other than the seasonal recreation department, okay? That's a direction, so can I get a vote on a budget that's going to be amended to, there's a freeze on hiring other than seasonal recreation until we come up with a budget.
Second.
I think we've talked about this enough, Bill.
Yeah, I'm just,
You look like you want to throw something.
well, the thing is, I'm trying to figure out the wording. The intent, I think, is correct. But, I mean, like, on the, like, seasonal things, I mean, I kind of would feel better if all hiring were brought to the board. Okay, just, I would kind of, if we're going to hire somebody during this period of time, I would just feel better if it was brought to the board. And maybe we have, where it's a personnel issue, maybe we have to discuss it in executive session or something like that. Okay, and, yeah, that way, we don't have
I'm following.
mistakes.
I'm following what you're saying.
Yeah.
The vote will be, but then a manager can always come back to us. You could, there's.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, if there's something that's like, we
The
need.
manager could always come back and then bring into executive session and make, it's the same thing like policy could get changed like that, just a matter of emotion or whatever, okay? So this is right now, you're looking for direction, and the direction the board, I believe, is coming to, is
Yeah.
saying, freeze, unless you come in with a dire.
Right.
Emergency, right.
And come in like Bill is talking about.
Right.
Yeah,
So can I get, whoever's in favor of all hiring freezes other than the seasonal summer camp, to be put on, to be frozen until we come together with a budget?
I personally think it should be across the board, freeze everybody right now, if you're gonna freeze, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's only 3 weeks, so freeze everybody, even the seasonals.
The motion on the floor is to freeze other than the recreation. Okay, do I have a second?
You had a second.
Yeah.
I have a second.
What's the historical time?
They start hiring now.
Yeah.
Well,
Campus
they're
campus
just-
is basically sold out already.
That's a revenue producing.
Right, yep.
Right?
Well, not technically.
Okay, well, hold on.
Department or
Okay.
the camp itself?
Yes, it
Depends how you
produces
like
revenue.
Depends how you ask
It
the
depends.
question.
How you want to look
Okay,
at it.
okay.
Depends how you ask the question.
So we're getting a little far afield.
Yeah.
That's the discussion, I guess. Any further discussion?
Those in favor of freezing, giving instructions for the town manager to freeze all hiring other than the rec seasonal workers, there's no full-time rec, okay?
Right. That's all.
I said, Jim, you should call a motion.
So, all in motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. There's 4 ayes and 1 nay. The next is, I'm just going to give you, I think, and I like the rest of the board, I mean, we gave you the looking to the bonding and bringing up the real numbers. We just gave that. I think you should prepare a budget for us with the 3% COLA and not 3% COLA. I think you should present a budget to us with the 20% of the health insurance, or some other number that works, okay?
Maybe a 10 and a 20, 10, 15 and a 20, if it's not too much work.
You know?
The only thing I would caution on that, okay, is, assuming we're
The
still having
staggered
discussion.
timeline of the health
Oh,
care.
yeah.
Well, no. When we did the original budget discussions, we came to an agreement on what we were going to do for 2027. And one of the problems that we were finding is we don't have good data on where town compensation is,
Total compensation.
the total compensation.
But we know our budget is
We know our
online.
budget is off, okay, and we know that we seem to be paying more than other towns for health insurance, okay, because the employee contribution is low. We do know those things, John. Okay, we do, but we don't know where we fit in terms of compensation for employees for a position.
And we have the wrong plan, which can't be changed till,
Well, that's a different issue, but,
but we're locked in for part of that.
Yeah. So it's not that we shouldn't change it, it's that the question is, what's the right changes to make?
Well, I would think you'd use the best available data.
That's right, we need data, yeah,
The benchmark of the
available.
state,
yeah.
the benchmark of
We
the
can't make
state.
it up.
No, you can't, right, I agree.
If you want to benchmark the state, it's 20%
20%.
contribution with the deductible completely paid for,
Right.
which, so that would up our deductible contribution.
Well, no, I'm saying the 20%. If
You got to look at everything, total.
you don't have to, we can look at whatever
You
we
can't
want.
cherry pick and pick the bad things from the state and then take away, I mean, the stuff that's positive for the
You know,
town,
we could
that's
make
not
this really
fair. I
easy. We
mean,
could put on the, we could put like.
Use the state for your benefit and then not
Yeah,
use
what-
the state when
We
it
could,
doesn't benefit you.
we
That's-
we could,
Yes.
listen, we could put out to the voters, because the voters are the voters that are the ones that voted down the budget. And I'm listening and hearing. I went through the same thing with the school, okay? And the school went from a great plan to the employees to 20%, okay? So you can get all the information you want, or we can get all the information we want of what the average is out there or whatever, but at the end of the day, we want to put a budget together that the voters are going to pass, and they're looking for savings. So if we have to put an article on that says, shall the employees of the town of Killington pay 20% or 15% or whatever, then that's what we do. So I'm saying right now, not a vote, but I would like to see you come back with how the budget, when you plug in the numbers of 10% of the premium, 15% of the premium, and 20% of the premium.
See, I'm even pushing it a little further than that, Jim. We don't know that we're paying, ignore health insurance for a minute. We don't know that we're paying proper salaries for the jobs that we have in town. We don't know that. We don't have data to support any of that.
Well, I think
stuff.
if we're going to be freezing, hiring, and so on and so forth, I think if we freeze,
3 weeks.
everything to, to the level it's at right now, until we resolve the budget issues. Then we can try and adjust people's salaries to what their competitive is, around here. But we need to solve the budget
Part of the
first.
budget. That's all part of the budget.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, we've gone through this a couple of different times. We just adjusted, I think, 3 years ago, the clerk treasurer's salary. We adjusted other salaries. If we're going to keep on coming here, we can put another budget out. And if you're going to sit here and tell the taxpayers that now we're going to start going out and giving raises, you're going to get another failed budget. I'm talking about freezing the 3% COLA that you call it, okay? And using the salaries from there. And then I'm asking you just to come to us, we're giving you direction to work at 10%, 15%, and 20% on the plan that we currently have that runs through December 31st, okay? What that will look from July 1 to December 31st, and then what it would, and I think you were looking at a different plan, if I'm correct. Okay, and so then what that plan would look like from January 1 to June 30th. We need numbers here, and you're asking us, you're the one that's going to put the budget together, and we're giving you directions, and I'm giving a direction.
And guidance.
And I'm just asking if that's what you agree on.
It is.
For the health insurance wise.
My personal opinion on that stuff is I feel you invest in your employees, and then what's going to happen when you don't have a crew to plow the roads, people will bitch. And you know what? When that happens, I will sit up here and I will say, I told you so, every meeting.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll welcome that.
That's my,
Yeah. But at the same time,
We lost the whole highway department last year.
And I, by the way, I feel
we can have that
the
discussion too.
tension
Don't
over
talk to
taxes, okay? And I feel the tension with employees. I feel both sides.
yeah.
Okay, and we do need to, figure out where the balance point is. That's what this whole conversation of the budget's about. Okay, so,
And the previous board
Yeah.
said, work it up.
and the
Okay?
previous board, and
So I'm
so we do
asking
gotta
for
balance
10,
it out
15, and
somehow.
20. Just show us what it looks
I
like.
don't know what the right answer is. I can't pretend to know, with the limited data we have, to know what the right answer is. Okay, I know where we have to get to on certain items, okay, but I don't know if that actually is overall good, okay, because could we be creating problems somewhere else with unintended consequences? Okay, so we got to be very careful how we do this
We're
with the
making a
nature of the
decision
employees.
tonight. We're asking
Yeah.
for information.
Yeah.
We need the,
Patrick asked for guidance.
we need data so we can
need
analyze
data.
it, so that we
Yeah.
can make sound decisions.
Right, Okay, and I view it as a situation where you're potentially taxing people out of their homes, or you're driving the employees away. So we got to figure out what the balance is there. We really do. And it's hard.
It certainly is. It's a big responsibility, and that's why we're here.
Yes.
So, are we finished with the major item discussion of expenses?
Yeah.
Because I have a couple of ideas. I don't know if they're big-ticket items, but I think we should look at user fees. I've read a couple of articles over the last few months about how we have a lot of influx of outsiders into our recreation department. So we're paying for outsiders to come in and use our facilities. And the other thing is, the rates that we charge are so low. So if we could look at raising the rates, which could be manageable, and what could be tolerable to whether they're outside parties or in-house parties, so to speak, people who live in town and own homes in town. So we should see if we can look at that, see if we can raise some money there, make the rec department even more self-sustaining. The transfer station could be looked at, the fees there, because I know there are a lot of money going out there. We should be able to pay, that should be, self-sustaining or close to it anyway. And we could look at modifications.
We did
raise the ones in the transfer station.
We haven't raised, we said we'd look at it.
Yeah, that was-
That
We
and
increased
zoning.
we increased the revenue
We increased the
line.
revenue.
Yeah.
and then we're gonna
Which
go
is-
Which is the assumption.
Well, what does it break down to in terms of per bag or whatever it is that?
We charged Patrick with coming back, I
Yeah.
think, or whatever.
I think Patrick can come back with, I think Vito, just off the top of my head, you basically want to double the fees if you wanted to bring the transfer station into balance, because right now the transfer station is technically running a deficit.
Yeah.
Well,
Technically.
No, so let's
We lose money on
remember,
Yeah.
it may be running around a $50,000, $60,000.
I thought it was more than that, but it's irrelevant what the
That
exact
is
number
about
is.
But the town, you have to figure in what the town gets out of it, because we do throw everything, so we would be paying for, so you have to think that.
Refuge.
I know Dave Atherton, we like bringing up the name, when he first came on, he was talking about subbing it out that he did down in Pittsford or whatever, where a outside organization comes in and takes over the times that it's set up to bring in, and they basically set up over there, and they give the town whatever the town has to throw out for free. Okay?
Yeah,
That was the
so
deal.
that's what it is.
So I don't know, maybe Dave has maybe there's some paperwork in the file or whatever of how he was going about it, but, take a look at that and see what it was, because I thought that was one of the movements that was going to happen, that we were going to go look to an outside
Well, maybe
service.
we could reach out to the other town. If there is no information, we could reach out to whatever town Dave came from.
Like Bridgewater does it. Bridgewater has where they have pickup over there, and it's just on a certain day, Wednesday, and people go in there, and it's not the town of Bridgewater. So, we can take a look at it, but I agree, and we had the conversation, Ricky, Jay, Bill, myself, about raising the rates, and I think we jumped it.
That is one you
From
need to be
35
careful about,
revenue
so
to
people don't
40
throw their trash on the side of
You
the
got that
road.
right.
So
Yep,
that's
that's
one
right.
we
We
have to be
Exactly,
mindful
yeah,
of.
we had that conversation.
So I-
We had that exact conversation.
And I
Yeah.
think, to Vito's point about the rec department, if my recollection is correct, when Ms. Clappy came in and gave her presentation, she was already making adjustments to rates to address some of the
she
issues that you
was.
mentioned. That doesn't mean that,
Was the
Now
number
that she's-
incorporated into the budget?
Yes.
and, yeah, so maybe though, even, did she raise them for this summer as well already? So now that she has some data points
Plans to
to
raise them for next year.
see where we're
That's
at,
not going to help us here.
yeah.
And she also is talking about getting sponsorship.
Yep.
Which is not included in the budget.
No, because just unsure what we can get.
It's an unknown, right?
So,
Okay, well, I have a couple of other items which, I don't know, they're kind of complicated to implement, and I don't know what the payback would be. Fire calls, I know this discussion I've been part of in the past, where you get excessive false alarms from these second homeowners or rental properties, and supposedly we're supposed to charge after the third call or something, we're supposed to charge a fee for the, fire department going out there with an engine or whatever. I don't know if that ever happened or is happening, but I'm hoping we could look at that and get some revenue out of that. And the other thing was auto accidents. Again, this was thrown around before. I think Steve Finer was going to look at it. I think he did look at it and kind of, stepped away from it for whatever reason. But I did a little bit of reading on this. It does happen. There are companies out there, like third-party companies, who will take over the function, but I guess it involves record keeping on our level, for WIT or whoever responds to these auto accidents has to file some sort of report so that people have something to work off of when they go to the insurance company. So those are a couple of other possible areas of income.
So let's stop on that. We had a long discussion on this here, and it's in place, and we do have an ordinance on this.
I think they're working
And
on
nobody
it.
really, but you were involved in the conversation, and I think it was claimed that the information wasn't being given over to the fire department. I think that's what they had said.
It has been, all they can do is ask, and they had past leadership that have asked for it, where it goes from that side, I have no idea, but
So your job is?
we do our job and turn it over,
Okay.
if they have to ask them.
So, and then there is a third party out there that takes 20% or whatever it is of it. So we need to find out why that's not happening. It is an ordinance, and if it's not going to be, if we're not going to collect on it, then let's get rid of the ordinance. Why have an ordinance if you're not going to follow it?
And that was one of the things I think that Billy was supposed to follow up on with
Yeah,
Right.
he's working on, it's
Yeah.
on his list, because
It's on his
they
list,
have a
yeah.
draft of it.
So Whit, how does that information get from your group to the fire group? Is it, what's the processes that you use?
Sure, in the past, just an email from the fire chief, or in the past, Jim Fury would knock on our door after a crash, and we just hand him the crash report, and has all the insurance, we do all the work, has all the insurance information on the crash report, and then, from my understanding, they would just bill the insurance company based on our crash report and our narrative, and it shows who's at fault, who's not, based on our investigation.
It seems to me that there's an issue of it coming from the police department over to the fire department.
That was the
Well,
discussion we had.
That was the discussion, that he can send it. I don't understand why it has to be asked for. Can we
It's not on the
make,
police side, we have all the information right there, and in the past, they'd knock on our door, we'd give them the crash report.
I know, but what I'm saying is, can we just give it to them?
Or a shared
Without-
database? I think a shared database would
I don't
be
know if you
ideal
can
that
get
they
it
could
shared.
get into.
I
that-
just want a quick little.
It has, they have regulations of that's
Yeah.
all. It can't be.
Something, there's a record of them
That
requesting.
there's different, whatever.
There's personnel information on those.
Just follow up, because we've had calls.
I believe they have a draft ordinance to updating it in process right now.
That's it for that.
John?
I think I'm good on that.
So, so now the next thing up is the forensic audit cost inclusion. I mean, that's pretty quick. The voters voted, so up to $200,000, and we're gonna have to come out with a new budget.
Right, just put it into the
And we'll
budget.
take that put it into the budget, because that passed, okay?
That's what I want to
Are
confirm.
you working on an RFP at this point for getting a more firm cost for it, or?
Yeah, we have the RFI, we're gonna update it to an RFP and send it out. It's also a timeline of when we want to do it. I assume we don't want to do it until after July 1, because it would, right now, it's not budgeted in this fiscal year. If that is a correct assumption, that's what we're operating under.
Why don't you bring back the RFI for the board to take a look at?
Send it all around to you guys, yeah.
Okay, and then on top of it, put in the RFI that, we'd like to get on this right away, and payment would start the new year, July 1.
Right.
Instead of sitting there going, we have to wait, I mean, the voters asked for it, it's already,
Well, that's the reason why we need the RFP now, right? Because
right.
until we know a cost, we can't fix it in the budget.
How much of that gets linked into the
Well, we have to put the-
FY 205 financial audit and management letter that you wanted to discuss?
How much of the what?
How much of the RFI for the?
They're separate.
Do you think they're separate?
Yeah.
So you don't think any of the information that Ron's discovering
I-
would get processed into that?
I think we're going to have duplicative results at times.
Okay.
But by how the article is written, the article is written.
No, I know
So, yeah.
I understand the article's written, but I'm just saying the guide for writing the RFP, I saw some of the things in the management
yeah,
letter
we
that
can include-
basically
yeah.
said, that looks like it should go into the
Well, you-
forensic audit.
Well, we have the year-end audit. We have what?
No,
we call
we
it.
don't.
No, we don't have it. No, it's still coming in.
Well,
Dave's still
it's
coming
being
in.
done, it's
We-
being
yeah,
done.
we have the
We
short
also
form.
have the enhanced audit, right?
Which is part of the year-end.
Right, so, but it's enhanced, it's not just the year-end audit.
Correct.
Yeah.
Plus, we have the compliance audit for the TIF, right?
That is, yes.
Ron said he was
yes,
working on it.
It is part of that.
Well,
It's all,
isn't
it's
that what
all,
Kirsten worked on?
yes, it's all the
Okay,
same.
so I know we had this discussion earlier this week, or was it, that I would hope to see some incorporation of the work that's being done now that would be duplicative. Okay?
Oh, yeah, we're already making the.
Okay, so
fixes
that
identified.
is taken into consideration.
So we're kind of jumping here. We're just, this here is the audit cost inclusion.
Right.
Right.
It's automatically.
It doesn't say
it
include
goes
as
in
the
because it's
budget,
already-
not
It says-
a bond,
yeah,
anything
right.
like that, right?
It's in the budget.
Yep,
So
okay.
So the next
But the
question.
RFI is,
Oh.
is a work product.
Yes.
A2 is FY 2022 solar panel discussion.
When do we think we could have a RFP prepared?
We're going to go, and that's in C, planning for forensic.
Okay.
This was just automatically,
That's
it's
fine.
included in the
Yeah.
budget.
And then with the solar panel, so that is, look at doing a bond. That was my takeaway from our first part.
Yeah, that's in that
Yeah.
one there, but I'm just gonna bring up that Chris Carr and I, you can go through the minutes, and we pushed and pushed and pushed, and this is just one of those other things. It was there, and it was actually in the audit too, and I think George might have brought up that it was in the audit, but it wasn't in the, it wasn't in the budget. And he spent four meetings, so.
And I got you guys to pull 2 years of records on it.
So, I mean, I think the board would like to have a written summary of what actually really happened, because we were told as board members that this was paid, when I argued it wasn't. The money was just taken out of the general fund, okay? So, we had a town manager tell us it was paid, and it was used by the library, it was used by, the library paid for it, the highway paid for it, then like 3 minutes later, 3 other places paid for it.
have it right
We
here,
just
I can tell
need
you.
to know what happened. So this is planning, this is FY 2022 solar panel discussions, and if anyone wants to know, this is the solar panels that are in front of the library and in front of
canopies.
town hall, the canopies.
They were, moved for FY '22, sorry. They were never broken out to the tracking sheet of our reserve funds, as you can see, because they were sub-account. They were they're in the town library and capital fund sub, so there's a regular, oh no.
Is your battery died?
No, mine's plugged in. I have no idea what that is. It is Wave. Thank
Is
you.
anybody on it? Is everybody
I'm gonna
still
bring them
there?
over to my screen. Hold on.
I think it's probably the manufacturer, it's probably their screensaver.
Oh no, so we're still, the video's still good.
Hold on 1 second while.
Kirsten, are you still on?
Yeah, yes, I'm still here.
So it's
Okay, so we can still hear, we don't have our video. Okay. But you can still see us?
Yeah, I can still see everybody. I can
Okay.
still see everybody.
All right, thank
Let's
you.
wait for Vito to come back, so.
Okay.
It is 8:30. Does anybody need a break here for 2 minutes? Anyone need water? Need the restroom? While
Good
Vito-
for right now, yeah. Get some progress.
Am I allowed to chime in while we're waiting?
No.
Can I make
Like to have no.
Kirsten, what's
They're shutting us down.
186? Is that the new, its own fund?
That's, so the 186 is the new account that was set
Okay.
up for the solar panels. Everything that was charged was moved into 186.
Yep.
But it seems that it was not communicated to anybody else.
Yep,
It was just-
I'll go over that, but I just want to make sure, the 146, 145, that's the town and library, and then 186 is the new one. correct?
Yes,
Okay.
145 is the town, the old town hall.
Yep.
And 146 is the library, capital.
So, we just don't have our video, but it is still working.
They can see us.
They can hear us, and it's all fine. So, in 2022, June of 2022, the two canopies were put into the library capital and library town capital, library capital budgets under their own sub-accounts. So the way our system works is you have an account, and it tells you library capital, and then there's a revenue, there's an expense, so there's two separate accounts. So 6 is one, 7 is another, and then you have other areas. But as you work your way down this long string of numbers, you eventually get to decimals, and those create sub-accounts, and these were put into a sub-account that were not pulled into any of our reports that are generated. This was brought up, in my knowledge, it was multiple times, it was brought up to Dave Atherton.
It was brought up to Chet.
Yeah, but I'm saying in my knowledge here.
My knowledge, it was brought up to Chet from Finneran, Carr, and myself.
Right, and nothing happened with it then. Under Dave, it was brought up again. There was a question, or one of our specific things to the auditor was say, look at all of our fund balance accounts. And that's when it was flagged there as that's being housed there. And they have since been moved into their own account for better tracking. That's now the 186 Solar Canopy Fund. And it's 2004, so, so it's $2,004.
$204,000.
Thank you, $204,000. That's the total cost of them. So they've been carried since 2022, just as a negative on our accounts through multiple town managers.
Why wasn't this picked up on a long time ago? That's what I don't understand. I mean, it seems like a little lack of oversight to me, but.
Yep, we don't know. None of the people that were there are here that create these funds, and.
This was not a board issue, it was underneath the sub.
Sorry, the sub
So,
account.
from a procedural perspective, who writes the physical check?
We're not, that's.
No, not names,
Like, not even, not going back to
Okay,
that
so,
day.
I know, I'm just trying to understand
Those
the process,
persons.
how do we prevent it from happening again?
Well,
Yeah,
we're gonna get into that underneath the letter.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
no checks and balances that have been in place in this place for a
This is
while.
not how we would do things now.
Well, that's what I'm getting at, is how do we avoid a
Blanket
reoccurrence?
statement, this is not how we do things now, because also, the idea was that this would go out to bond, but it appears that we paid for the work prior to going for the bond. Typically, you reverse it. However, I will say, these solar panels are the emergency power generation for those two buildings. That is the purpose of them. They're not just, some people are like, oh, we're just
gotta-
giving free car charging.
I gotta laugh.
Yeah.
For a lot less than $200,000, you could have put a propane emergency.
Fair enough.
Okay,
I'm just giving the context of what it is, because
How they were justified,
Yes, it was not just.
We're not, I'm just telling you.
They were justified under
they
emergency
popped
power
up-
use.
Patrick, they popped up in June or July.
Yeah.
And a board, Steve Finneran, Chris Carr, and myself said, where are these in the budget? It's in the minutes,
Yeah.
okay? Steve actually called me and said,
Oh, wow.
who's paying for the, are we paying cars to be charged?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't negate
So-
any of that. I'm just saying,
So the question that I
they were
have is
just
that
carried as a negative.
this was carried, and this was questions a lot of, why are there negative numbers in the reserve funds?
They
or
didn't even
whatever?
show up in there.
They didn't even show up there,
Right.
okay? It was offshore, okay? It wasn't,
Yeah,
it wasn't
in the
involved
dark.
into, it was in the dark, okay? So, kind of reminds me back in 2012 or 13, when George asked a question, one of the last information meetings before a town meeting day, where everyone got together, Ron Smith in the audience, and Ron admitted, he said, there's a lot of chapters that haven't been brought over to the current budget. My bigger question is this one is picked up. Is there any other that's picked up?
There's a few other funds that we're still looking at to figure out some positive, some negative, that we're like, what
When are we
is
gonna
it?
have the answers of what's the total?
Well, what do you mean? The total of outstanding or the total?
If it's
of-
negative.
However,
So how many, when are we going to have?
We can
the
give you
real
all the other
information?
counts.
Give us all the other
We have
counts.
all the other counts.
Okay, so we would like to see that at the next meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay? So we know what we're talking about going forward with redoing this budget, because to really, I would like to see, I don't know what the rest of the board, is to get all these subcategory things that were
get them on the
in the dark,
Right.
out in the light, and voted on. Okay? And then understanding that this is not going to happen again. And
Yeah.
people start asking, what about this fund, what about that? Then, no, but it was pushed aside even then by managers.
Yeah.
Okay? So I just want to know what the other numbers are.
Yeah.
But this was a
None-
discussion on the
none
solar
are
panel.
as
Huge.
heavy as that, yeah, just to put everyone at ease, that there's
So-
other ones to account for, but it's not hundreds of thousands.
So now I think we
People
had enough
discovered how to create slush
conversation.
funds.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to use it, you know. So.
but again,
um,
these are reasons why the budget
Should have failed.
needed to be failed, so that we could find these items, so that we can
Because then
inject
it'd just
them,
be another
correct them,
year.
correct the
Yeah,
record
yeah,
and move
exactly.
forward.
It'll just be another year.
You address them at some point.
And people were asking. So anyway, I think we'll go to the public, any conversation just on solar panels at this point. Mention your name.
George Brandt. I brought this up at 4 or 5 meetings at least. That's why I wanted the audit, because the numbers were being hidden. Dave explained it, that it was paid for, and it wasn't, because I pulled 2 years of records on that, and I couldn't find out how it was paid for. And I'm not, Patrick, I'm not asking you a question, okay?
Okay, well, they were paid for, the taxpayers were not made whole from the spending. I agree with you.
And not to mention, the select board never approved it. How did the solar panels get there to start with?
The warrants were signed, but again, our warrant process, not the best.
It's
So it creates issues that like
Well, that's
this.
why we needed the audit, because the numbers, you're saying there's $400,000 or $500,000 unaccounted for. Is that with the solar panels or without it?
I'm not saying that they're on, no.
Well, you said we had debt for $400,000 or $500,000 at a meeting, correct?
Deficit?
We owe $400,000 or $500,000, you said
It
at
was
a meeting.
204,000. We got to make the people whole.
There,
Taxpayers whole.
yeah.
You mentioned 147,000.
Is this also, is that included with it, or are we at $700,000? Is what I'm trying to say to you.
This is what we're going to come to.
We're conflating budget years of items.
I get it, but it's still gonna come up on another budget. You gotta get your numbers together, I mean, it's
So like for
ridiculous.
this year, when we get to the FY '26, we're making steps to prevent the deficit.
So when I asked that question to Dave, when his answer was a complete fabrication,
I wouldn't say that, but
what would you say?
I would
I'd stay.
say that the solar panels were paid for, but the taxpayers were never made whole. And I would agree with you.
Well, the taxpayers never voted for it.
That's what I'm trying to say. Those
And the
went up
board
and no
only
one
found
voted
out
for it.
afterwards and asked
And
questions.
how would we bond it if we didn't vote?
We didn't bond.
Well, that's what I'm saying. How
Because I was, Patrick, I was at meetings
That's what I'm saying.
when it was
In advance.
proposed with the solar
Again,
panels.
this is stuff in the past that we're trying to deal with now.
Yeah, we're trying to figure it out.
Patrick, I'm not blaming you at all.
No, I understand that.
You know what
I'm
I'm saying?
saying, it,
So I'm
our
gonna-
processes, we already acknowledge, were not the best during this time.
I think, Patrick, the fact that
So-
you're
So we're identifying them.
you're actually identifying this, and you've been in office for what, 8 weeks?
Yeah.
No, this
Okay,
was
so-
identified
What
2
was-
years ago.
Well,
You know,
no,
but
no,
thanks
no,
for-
no, 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 no.
So action's a different word than
Yeah, action.
identifying.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
George,
I still have a question. When was this found out and who found out about it?
Well, apparently it's been known since
Jim
2000
that.
and 2002, 22.
So why are you all of a sudden saying that we do have the debt when I was at other meetings and you said you did?
George, this is just another, you say something and you're told you're wrong, and you move on. So now,
I get it,
and then you
but-
find out 6 years later or 5 years later, you were right, and we're gonna take care of it.
I just
that.
find it ridiculous that, I mean, if the board signed the warrants, I feel that they bear a little bit of responsibility for it.
But what I'm trying to say is the responsibility doesn't matter because we still have to
We have
pay
to
it.
pay it.
Yeah, I know. but I'm
It was
just
already
trying to say,
built.
we're
The warrants
talking
came
about
after it was
paying,
built, the warrants came after
After it
it was
was
built.
built.
After it's billed.
Okay, so
What people
And
don't
it's been
recognize
known
about
about
the
since
warrant process is
2022.
the warrant process are signing the checks to be paid, not authorizing the expense to be.
Which means you already have an invoice.
We could go back to 2012 or 13, and if we're going to make the board responsible for every single warrant that they sign, which I could pick on some of them lately that shouldn't have been signed, if that's what you want to get to, okay? We could do that, or you know what, we could go back to like 12 or 13 and say, we're not going to have a town manager form of government because we're going to make the board responsible for every single thing.
Yeah,
And we don't want to go that way.
Right.
We want a town manager form of government.
Yeah.
Okay? So,
We've identified issues
other
and
than,
management choices.
George, you're cut off on solar panels, even though you still, is there any other
I just
person?
want to know how I could figure it out, but the staff at the town
We get
cannot.
it, and now they got it, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Check on that. So, is there anybody in the audience that wants to talk about the solar panels?
You're
I
not going to
think,
make any more, right?
we're not gonna make any more.
We'll let you know
That's all I want, I mean, $200,000.
Wait, we're talking,
Watch.
This is way out there. How come it's free to use?
well, that's another thing, I think
started
Will
looking
was
into that.
instructed, Will was looking into at some point that it could get changed to be paid.
Okay.
There could be a machine to be put in to be paid.
And I've reached
Dave
out
was
to
looking into
Killington.
that.
I've reached out to Killington to see who they use as a vendor.
Yeah, for their app service.
So I can't see online,
I can.
does anybody have their hand raised? Does anybody have a question? I hope we beat solar panels to that we're gonna go and ask if we can bond it, since it should have been bonded.
It
in
should
the
have been
beginning.
bonded. Yep.
Along with the FEMA thing that should have been bonded.
Jim, I still don't have my question answered. When did you find out about this? Was it before the budget or after the budget?
They just found out.
I just found out.
You just found out.
The dollar
Okay,
amount.
That's my question.
So we're off the solar panels. Now we're into planning to review Killington Town personal policies.
Before we go there, Jim,
Go ahead.
okay, when do we want the next budget to be put forward by Patrick? So to close out the budget discussions, is that for the 23rd, or do we
I think
want
the
to wait?
23rd is going to be 2 subjects, and that's it.
Okay, so the 23rd is the first draft, shall we say, of the revised budget?
Zoning, bylaws, subdivision, and the budget.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Did you guys do the budget first, please?
Between 6:30 and 7.
We already pushed it to.
No, I'm just saying, do that first, because the other thing takes a long time.
It does.
And some people aren't interested.
All right,
Just
I
so you know.
believe that with John and Vito going, and then us putting in some questions, we'll be able to get through.
Pretty quick.
Like a half hour. So we'll go from 6:30 to 7 till we finish the subdivision, and then we'll pick up from there.
Okay, so on the 23rd, we get what your revised.
Version 2 of budget.
Version 2 of the budget,
Yep.
okay.
Which will have multiple scenarios,
Yeah. We'll be able to play with it.
Okay.
Planning for review Killington Town personal policies. I mean, that's been on hold now for over 2 years. I think that could wait till the first meeting in April.
Well, yeah, that's
Yes.
in there just to remind you that it was a work item that we needed to do, because if we make health insurance changes, those are identified in the personnel policies. We've also had issues of overtime pay and I think holiday pay.
the
which
way
have
holidays
come up.
run.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we really need to look at all of that stuff.
And I'm gonna, my
Yeah.
plan I'm bringing to you guys is breaking down into the sections instead of the whole document, so we don't run into this issue that we
Yeah.
get with like the
So,
the land
if-
development.
assuming
where
we-
go 5, meetings without anything.
Assuming we do health insurance changes in terms of employee contributions, okay, we would need to change that and have it in place by July 1, which is when those changes would get to the employees. So we probably need to back that up. We probably need to approve it by the end of May.
Let's,
Yeah,
the first meeting of April,
first meeting of
the
April.
number one thing right now is going to be the policy.
So after budget and.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
First meeting of April.
Yeah, yeah, and again,
Yeah, that.
I'm
And
gonna
I think
break
the
it out
first
into the
meeting is
most
supposed to be the treasurer's report. Is that what we're doing?
That's gonna be quick. That's gonna be quick.
Does it better the first, or is it better the second meeting, the third week of, for you?
Third week, because then you would have your stuff.
I think the third week would be
Today it
better.
wasn't ready quick because we have the election, so I didn't have a time to even sit on it.
I think
But it
we
take a
make-
time. It's not like that's done in an hour, it's not.
Right, we're going to make it we'd like to see the third week. The third,
The second meeting of the month. Treasurers.
For the prior month, okay? But right now, we've got, for next meeting on the 23rd, we got 2 items. We already know we're going to hit policy on the first.
And again, I'm going to bring that in chunks so that we can handle it quicker.
So that'd be April
more
13th.
agilely.
April 13th?
At the,
Well, actually, the first Monday is April 6th.
so that, the first and third we meet, right? Or
Yeah, maybe the first and third. April 6th would be the first Monday
For policy,
for policy. Okay, all right,
right?
okay.
Planning for forensic audit,
That'd be constructive.
I think we've already had this discussion.
Yeah.
How you're going to put out the RFI or RFP.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, we already had the RFI, so we're going to do a,
The board is going to be able to see it before it goes out, and we had asked that we would like to put in there for payment to be July, to come in
Yeah.
July.
Yeah.
We would like to start as soon as possible, but we would like to have it in, the payment to start in July, and we've done that with many other companies.
yeah, that's not
Okay? Other items, the select board member comments and concerns. Bill, do you have any other items, concerns, or comments?
No, the only thing I had was the bonding, which we just got a legal advice on.
Okay, Ricky, do you have?
I do, actually. I mean, I've had people reach out to me questioning why previous budgets weren't shot down, thinking that, there's been a lack of oversight. I mean, we noticed some stuff from the budget last year. I mean, someone getting a $21,000 pay increase, $50,000 for a weather station, $10,000 for a roller. I mean,
Can you
why
bring
was it
up
just
who
a-
got the $21,000 raise?
I'm not saying names,
No,
John.
because you're coming at me, and I'm going to straighten this out right now. The job was part-time. It went to full-time. You take 40 hours times 52, and you get to 2,080 hours, and you times it by the rate. It was not a $71,000, okay, is not a $21,000 raise. So if you want to come at me, use my name, because that's the 21,000. And I'm sorry, so if you're going to say that, then how did other people in this place actually still full-time salaried, okay, get jumps in their paychecks? But if you're going to come at me, Ricky, thank you. You're proving you have a vendetta against me. And it's not a $21,000 raise. And if you want to keep on doing it, if you want to keep on saying that I got a $21,000 raise, be prepared, okay? Because that's slander. It is not a raise. We went through this. You take the $32.48 an hour and you times it by 2,080, and you're up to about $67,000. You want to go back to my letter when I was part-time and asking the town lawyer, is a select board member able to be the zoning administrator full-time? Okay? And the answer came back and said yes. So they made me full-time. I did not ask for it. I then came into a meeting. I was appointed by the planning commission and by the town select board to take it on. I personally put my life on hold for a 3-year term, okay? That's what it was. And it was not a $21,000 raise. It was 40 hours a week times that rate. That's it. You want to keep bringing it up, I gave you, not a raise, okay? So before you go running around town telling people that a fellow select board member took advantage and got a $21,000 raise, maybe the folks that voted understand now. And as Andrew sits there the day before and says, this was the plan for, including Jay, against 1. This is not 3 against 2. This is 3 people that want to move, and I hope, and I believe Bill does too, and I hope you do also, okay?
Of course I do,
So
but
this
I
is
just-
supposed to be,
My
but
question
don't
is-
bring up a $21,000 raise with
We'll drop
me.
that one, but why wasn't there oversight in previous, when there's a a deficit, why wasn't there oversight and why wasn't there discussion?
Ricky,
I mean,
Ricky.
The vote is vote.
I think we have the perfect
Yeah.
device.
Yes, I
We have the
have-
perfect device to answer those questions in the forensic audit.
Yeah,
Okay, it's gonna go back 3 years, they're gonna look at all this different
They may
stuff.
go back further
If
than
you've
3
got a
years,
question,
okay.
or anybody in this town,
That's where they look and it can go.
anybody in this town has any questions about fiscal irresponsibility by this town government for the last 3 years, please submit your complaints, your suspicions, whatever questions you may have that may affect our budget, please submit them so we can hand them to the forensic auditors and find out what the reality is of things.
Yeah, and.
Thank you.
I'd like to say, Ricky, that I understand where you're coming from. I totally get that there's frustration about the fact that the budget didn't pass and people are raising issues. I get that.
No, I get it too.
No,
and people have the right to vote it down. I understand
I
that.
get that. Okay, but the problem is, the past is the past. We identified that there were putting the budget together, we identified that there were a bunch of problems. Okay, and we were holding our nose at a 13% tax increase, and we knew, okay, that the auditor was still coming in with stuff. We knew all this stuff, okay? And the reality is, oversight was lacking over the last, God knows how many years, okay? And it's all coming out. And we just gotta methodically go through it and work it and drive it to ground and make sure we find everything. We have to do that. And at this point, blaming one another or throwing bricks at one another isn't.
I wasn't blaming
No,
anybody. I mean,
Oh, you did.
No, but Jim, on the other hand, okay, you're being sensitive to it also. We gotta back that off somehow and just, hey, there were mistakes made for one way or another. Okay, none of this should be personal. It should be, we gotta find out what expenses were put in there that were under subcategories that were hidden, what things weren't bonded properly, and we have to go through this methodically. Patrick can do that methodically, our accountant can do it methodically, and then at the end of the day, the forensic audit will also do it methodically. But we gotta drive it to ground, and we gotta do it without being hostile to one another.
Well, we can stop being hostile if it stops coming out saying $21,000 raise. It could stop by people saying that I was putting in 20 hours of overtime every single week. We could stop saying that because it's not true. Before you listen to the water cooler talk, do the investigating, and a forensic audit has been approved to move forward. And I just want to make sure, it goes back 3 years. If there's something there, it could go back further, and it could go back further, and it could go back further. And there's a lot of stuff in there, and let it happen, okay? I personally did not ask for the forensic audit. A group that ran said we needed a forensic audit. So you got it. The budget failed. Let's move on, and let's bring everything together. But let's stop saying things that is not factually checked. As Andrew says, do a fact check. I didn't get a $21,000 raise. Boom. Okay? So any other select board member concerns or comments or other items?
I guess as far as comments, I mean, to Ricky's point, I respect that people question why previous budgets hadn't failed. That's partly on the voter, right? So the voter also has, a role and responsibility in this to go through the book, to look at things, to see how budgets are achieved, what's happening, and to make a conscious decision. Do I want to allow the town to increase or decrease, usually an increase, right, the budget? So, a lot of it falls on everybody. It's not just the select board, it's not just the voter, it's everybody. We all have a duty to participate in this process, to bring it together so that we can run our town as fiscally responsible as possible. And that's the answer to your question as far as, if people ask that question, maybe the question to them is, did you look at the budget that was proposed? Did you think it was acceptable to you? And if people take the time and look at it, we end up here we are, right? Asking legitimate
My
questions.
first question would be, did you vote?
One of the
That's
things-
also a real question.
One of the things we saw in previous budgets is they weren't annotated. Okay, so when things were changing and moving and going from here to there, it was very hard to follow.
Which I believe I saw you guys were working on.
Yeah, it was
you know,
very, very hard to
budget,
follow.
so you could
Okay, so
see
for
that.
having, for a typical voter to follow some of that stuff, your eyes would
It's hard.
glaze over, it's hard. Okay, that's why we added annotations to the budget in this year's book. Okay, and even those, okay, we need to improve them, okay, in terms of how they're called out, okay, but that was one of the things we started with this year's budget, at least trying to give people a guide on how it was put together, okay? And we got to, as a group, we got to work better at doing that, okay? Yeah.
And, you know, if I can continue, Bill, I think as a new member of the board here, I really want to encourage that we consider all levels of process and procedure and automation to try to enhance throughput. We have a limited resource. That limited resource is two things. It's the dollar and it's labor, and we need to maximize both of them. So I encourage Patrick, as a town manager, I know one of your skill sets and your background comes into the world of computing, and therefore I'm hoping we can enhance automation levels and use more AI technology to help move our town forward and enhance outcomes with the dollar. The last thing I'd like to mention is, and I mentioned this recently in a discussion, that as much as I believe the public needs access to the folks at Town Hall and the staff at Town Hall, I think in some way, shape, or form, we need to come up with a way to better manage that process, because I think it hurts productivity of staff and employees. So I don't know if we need to go to a situation where we're making appointments. I don't know, putting some type of a barrier, like, so people have to request to be able to come into Town Hall to see employees. But for people just to walk in the door, walk in Patrick's office, so to speak, and say, hey, Patrick, I know you're busy, but I'm going to take up an hour of your time, is not a productive thing in all ways. Yes, the public needs access, so I understand that, but people need to be able to be productive. And then lastly, with that, when people come into Town Hall, I really hope that people can learn to be more respectful of our staff. Sometimes I hear comments and things that are said to staff that dumbfounds me. I can't believe that someone would say that to someone while they're in their work position and you are a guest in their work environment. But I would encourage that our members of our public be more respectful of our staff members. Thank you.
Do you have any other concerns?
The only one comment I wanted to make, just kind of to show Ricky that there's,
We're
we've
going
had
to
this
get to
discussion.
that, into
Into the management letter?
We're going to get into
Okay, all
that.
right, so then I'll leave it for that.
That's it for you. I just, as a zoning administrator, and I had this conversation with Patrick earlier, and it kind of hits off, John, what you just said. I had Mr. Martin come in today. He was loud enough talking to Will, he's gone, but, came in to talk to Will about a zoning permit outstanding or whatever. I've released myself from it because it actually happens to be a project of yours, Vito, but, there's many places that didn't have COs from 2004 because back then, the zoning administrator wouldn't go out and give COs. I have to do a lot of them today. But when he came in, and he also was like, well, then I guess I could put a garage up without a permit. And I said, no, you need to file a permit. And I was told, F off, Jim, okay? That's what I was told. So, yeah, I think you're right, John. But let's move now off of that. We're going back up to 7. Year-to-date 301 budget report and year-end budget projection. I think we already have that scheduled really we don't have any of that stuff in our.
No, you wouldn't.
We would, okay?
No,
But
that's
I
on
would like
purpose.
to have, for our next meeting on the 23rd, some kind of paperwork that a year-to-date 301 budget report. I'd like to see a budget report.
Yeah, I have that, but we can't see it now.
I know, but even still, I would like to have it prior. It's not in my folder.
Yeah, you don't, yeah.
I would
you
like
don't
to
have
see it the Friday before our Monday meeting.
I would suggest you email that out to us
Yeah.
tomorrow, because
Yeah,
we
there's gonna be a lot of
we have
questions.
no time to deal with.
Right.
I'm going to
Queuing up the
cover
fourth
a
quarter.
very little bit of it.
Yeah.
Just because it's good news. Can I just
Yeah,
go
go
through
for it.
these?
Go for
I can
it.
whip through these. And some of these are critical that we need.
Well, I'm running the meeting, so we're going on the year-to-date 301
Yeah.
budget report.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I can go through these through town manager's report?
No. This is really not, there's some stuff in here that shouldn't be a town matter. There's a tax engagement letter, there's AGA, these are like requests, so it's really, should have been, it's not in the town. A report is just giving us an update. So if you want to give us an update on the budget report that we're going to have on March 23rd, then go ahead.
All right, thank you. So no, it's good news, we're on track. It looks like our current spending rate for this is FY '26, the current year. Our estimated spending is under budget, potentially around 200,000, which is great. Closing the deficit gap, we are also in a good spot. We've collected so far out of the delinquent taxes that are going to go to tax sale. We have that letter to sign. Already 191,000 out of that 482. So we got a good chunk of that. If we collect all of it, we should be in the positive by 200,000 or so. So we're on track to close the deficit gap for FY '26.
Okay,
That's all I need.
because at the last meeting, you were 700 down on revenue
Yeah.
and 400 down on expenses.
Mhm.
Okay, you thought, okay, so you think you're going to come in 200 down on expenses?
Yeah.
Okay, and so that says you think you're going
That's
to collect,
if we're keeping our current rate.
if we're keeping our current rate. So that
Yes.
says you think you're going to make up $500,000 worth of revenue.
Through,
This is why I make-
Approximately.
mainly through the tax.
This is
Mainly
why
through
I'd
the
like
tax,
to have a hard
approximately.
copy in
Okay.
case something like
I-
this
no,
happens.
approximately,
And have
yeah.
discussions so I can
Yeah.
read it before.
Okay.
No, I will.
Okay, well, I just wanted to try to get the gist of what you're saying.
Yeah.
And that's good news.
It's good news.
Yeah.
Good news.
That's the time, we're going to get this
We
coming.
need the
March
hard copy of
23rd.
that.
Yeah, that's
We're
fine.
going to get all this March 23rd.
But I
The
want
next one
I
here
wanted
is
to
FY
set,
Go ahead.
yeah, sorry, I just want to set you guys at ease a little bit, because I know we're talking a lot with the FY '27 budget and deficits that we have and different things. Our current budget, I have high hopes for salvaging against the errors that were included in it. So, good
We'll
news.
see that
Good
March
news.
Current being
23rd,
this year's?
FY '26, which is current budget, yeah. Yep.
which would affect the 28 budget.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, unfortunately, carry forward, go 28 and not 27.
So it's a bit like Bill and everyone else is talking about, moving forward and correcting.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
FY 2026 budget discussion. I think
That
we already
was
beat
that,
up.
yeah.
But we already beat that up.
Yep.
Certification of highway mileage. This is something every year, and if you take a look at Part 2, if there are no changes recorded this year, place an X in the box and sign below. There's an X. This is how many roads, Class 1, Class 2, Class 3, and that's all it is. Can
Yep.
I get a motion for the, what is it asking for, a signature?
Selectmen,
of-
Alderman, just a signature on it.
Yeah, but it says TCV clerk,
That's treasurer, no,
treasurer clerk,
town, city, village clerk.
clerk, okay. Can I get a motion for the town clerk to sign the certificate of highway mileage?
There's also a sign above that for a select board member.
Okay,
So moved.
okay. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can I get a motion for the selectmen to sign the original copy that Patrick has right now?
So moved.
Just say so. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
So you can pass that around. And Vito, let me borrow your pen.
It's a pencil.
We have, this one also, it's not on there, it's another signature and updating. This is the state revolving loan program, SRF, or sorry, SR.
Yeah, let's get this.
We
My
have to all
mind is
sign it?
right
We have to
there.
all sign it?
Yeah, all of us sign in the selectmen section. We'll leave that for the town clerk.
This one needs to update who our signing authority is on it. The request would be to put myself, I believe the last one was Dave Atherton.
So this here, we say the town manager, and we should have said back then the town manager.
Well, they write the name on it, that's why.
Yeah, but we said the town manager, so we shouldn't be,
Shouldn't need to.
it should be the town manager, so we shouldn't be here, but for now, we'll say, can I have that?
Oh, yeah, I just need authority. I can still sign it, but.
Can I get a motion for the state revolving loan program, water infrastructure, financing programs for the town manager to sign? Currently, Patrick Cushing.
So moved. Oh, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, and I'll take care of that one. Next, I have our business, the Sherburne Golf Service Company. This is a business that allows us to have a liquor license at the golf course. Currently, the directors, president, secretary, all the officers are no longer with us, and that be either employed or deceased. So we need to identify preferably 2 select board members to be listed as the directors of this company.
So it used to be 1 or whatever. I will never sign that document because that's giving out a liquor license. If you guys want to put your signature on there, go for it. That's saying you're in charge of that company.
The company, yeah.
And the liquor that's being served. I'm not going to sign for a liquor license myself. I have too much to lose. I think you're better off putting it out and asking the public if anybody wants to, unless one of you folks, nothing's ever happened.
No, I don't need the liability, thank you very much.
You know.
Okay, the company is a subsidiary of the town. So our lawyer was.
We'll save this for executive session.
The lawyer was asking for a select board
Yeah,
members.
and the lawyer has had other conversations, so we'll leave this underneath legal for
It needs to be filed by the 15th.
Okay. We'll have an executive session after this, during this meeting.
During this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
For legal.
That's fair.
Yep, that's good.
Peggy had something.
That's what I was going to say. He has
Oh,
to
okay.
file the annual registration by March 15th.
I just love us, and this has nothing to do with, but, it's March 9th, and
Yeah,
just like the planning stuff or whatever.
It was given
Okay.
last week.
So you've got that, you've got the ADA compliance.
Well, we have, next I have a utility relocation agreement. This is the.
Where is it?
It's in.
Yeah.
No, I got the paperwork, I just don't know where it is.
So this is over by,
This is, now cabinets.
Killington Cabinets.
Yeah.
We
and
were
it's
told
a-
this about 3 years ago.
And it's a few years out.
So it's something we are
We are in
paying
charge
for?
of the sewer, but no, we are not paying.
The
This is
sewer
from
is.
the sewer, the
District,
Alpine
sewer
Sewer
district?
District.
Is it-
And
yeah,
they
so-
needed to have it in there.
Route 4, isn't it?
Yeah, and they have money in the account
By
for it.
Ken
We
Merrill's
just need,
driveway.
I need
Yeah.
authority to sign it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, can I get a motion for the town manager, currently Patrick Cushing, to sign for, what is the document?
Utility relocation agreement.
Yep,
With V-Trans.
yep, with V-Trans.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Again, this work is not happening anytime soon. It's a few.
But it's
years
also
out.
not on the general fund, so it's not
Yes.
increasing the general fund.
Yep.
It's the users that are on the sewer line.
We had a request come in from Markowski, which this board, or the prior board said we were going to hold off any payments till we're out of the winter to see how it's held up. He came back and said, well, what about payments for the greenery, the planting? There's other things that were not in dispute. And so he asked for those to be paid.
How much is still owed on the whole contract?
If I'm reading this correctly, current payment due 77, balance to finish including retainers 42.
So we're less than 130 grand
Yes.
that's owed to that. Okay, and we don't know how much it's really gonna cost to fix. So I'm gonna say at this point, we don't know what it's gonna cost. Like saying, there might be more damage
Yeah,
than
we don't know the remedy.
70,000.
No,
We don't know the remedy,
So
right?
tell them that the board is waiting for the
Still waiting.
winter to end and the snow to go through, and an evaluation of the
More
cobblestones.
damage than the whole
Cobblestones.
winter, really.
Yeah, I know.
mean,
Well, there was damage on the
Water
slopes.
flowing down.
The grass was like sliding down the.
And I also
So-
asked back, I would like to see the actual bill of the cobblestones that were used, and what is that called?
Polymeric sand.
I want to see what polymeric sand, because there's
Yeah, I'd
different
like to know
versions of it.
Which type, you mean?
I want to see
the
I want to
brand
see, no, I want to see the
manufacturer.
invoice from
Yeah.
the supplier, going back to when they put it in. I'm being told that the wrong type of sand was used.
I would agree with that.
There's many different types, and maybe even the cobblestones that were used are not the correct cobblestones, because this is why we hire on an engineer, and they're supposed to do it. But we're taking a beating on this because I think it was designed wrong.
I would agree with you.
Engineer on all the job, like, every day. I mean, this water line up on East Mountain Road, it's garbage over through there. I can't-
Well, the water line's not garbage, it's the
No,
road
but
above
I
it.
mean, Phil,
No, it is.
I mean, I would be embarrassed to leave something looking like
But
that.
we brought this up, previous board brought it up even before your site over there. We brought it up, and it was many discussions with Abby and them, and, you know.
I mean, that's why contractors don't like engineers, because they make them do things by the book and stuff, and go through the extra steps and put in the lifts and
So
everything.
it's interesting
Yeah.
that some of the, as you mentioned it, Ricky, some of the spots that I know they took out big boulders out of, they must have been able to almost pull them from under the road almost. And you can see
Wasn't there
not
like
only,
tree stumps
not
they
only
were
where they
pulling out?
cut the
I put a culverting
road,
up there and
but
ripped out a
also
wall.
where they removed the rock, they backfilled, but then the road itself is sunk in the primary pavement, not just the patchwork.
All right, so the next one I have.
So anyway, you're
Oh, sorry.
sending that back to Markowski and saying a previous board said, we're waiting to see what the total.
And the current board agrees with that.
Yeah, thank you, but no thank you.
Yep,
Yeah.
okay. This is the engagement letter for our attorney to send out the tax sale notices. It is very ugly. That was, Attorney Barlow said, just write them next to it. And I said, are you sure? And he goes, yeah, no, you're fine. So that's why they're ugly.
I have a question here.
Sure.
So normally, and the state statute states that we are supposed to send out a letter asking for payment. And by law, we have to offer a payment, a reasonable payment plan to the folks. My name's not on here, so I can talk about it.
Correct.
Okay? And even if it was an LLC, it's not my name, okay? But where I'm going with this is previous town managers would put, and this is where you're gonna learn, and we're gonna work, and we're gonna get this, okay? It's gonna be good. But they would send a letter out to these folks saying, I'm going to put this to tax sale. If I don't have a payment agreement from you, say 12 months or whatever, or a payment, and you have the 30 days, if you read the statute, it tells you what you have to do. Okay? You have to offer them.
Okay. I'll work with the attorney
So
on
instead,
this.
so if we want to go with the attorney writing that letter, okay. But he's gonna have to go through, and like saying that we're gonna get this money in July, before July 1.
That's from the attorney, he
Yeah,
said.
he's gonna have to do a title search. Then the other thing is, if any of those folks on there have a mortgage on it, the mortgage company is gonna pay
Right.
before they let this thing go.
But we're hoping most of them don't go to tax sale.
Right, and
Yeah.
that's the plan.
Yes.
That's the plan. And yes, we should be doing a tax sale every 3 to 5 years or something like that, okay? That's what we should be doing, all right? But if you don't, people take advantage of, instead of having a higher debt from something else, they take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So, it's there, the numbers are down probably, how much did you say, from that first list of February 2nd?
From that first list, we've collected 190,000 already.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was, what was it?
480.
So we got almost 50%, 45%.
Just under.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, 45,
Right.
yeah.
So another letter going out is probably, and this is what happens usually anyway into the next year, if you look through the town report, you'll see that the current year is normally whatever, and then it starts going down from there, even without a tax sale. So, just talk to Jim Barlow. I'll make a motion for the town manager to move forward with a friendly letter of giving a payment option plan. And, can I get a second?
Second.
If you want to break the statute.
No, I think we
don't.
can we can offer it if, someone's asked, and if that's what the,
You
by
can't
statute
demand.
says.
The statute
I
says
don't
you
want to
must.
necessarily put it in the letter and say, hey, pay it over
Do I have
next
to pull
year.
up the statute? It says you must offer them.
Yeah, we can. Do we want to put it in the letter, though? That's what I was saying.
Have to.
Well, if you're statutorily
By
required.
statute, it says that you
Our
must
attorney is
offer
sending
them.
out the letter, so I trust that he is going to do it correctly.
Normally, before the attorney sends out the letter, I'm telling you, the previous town managers
Okay.
would have sent out a letter.
All right,
Have you sent out?
I've been following the attorney's lead on this, and he's been walking me through it. So this is, he says, the next step of what to do. We've notified them in June, or we've sent out notifications to these delinquent taxes. Our attorney says, this is the next step. He will send out the letters to request pay. I'm sure if that is part of the statute about the payment plans, he'll include that. And then if they are not done within the 30 days, it will go to the tax sale process.
Make a motion that we move the town manager to move forward with the tax collection letter with James Barlow, but the town attorney must include the option to enter into a payment plan, a reasonable payment plan, and I believe a reasonable payment plan is 12 months. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
The only thing that comes to mind is to get Jim Barlow to make a timeline of the process when we can actually try and collect the money from
90 days.
delinquent taxpayers.
Says,
Just to be sure in our own minds and to be accurate about when we're going to possibly get these funds versus somebody just saying, oh, it's going to be there.
I asked-
And
I asked him
X
that.
day, just get it in writing. He would.
His stuff says here approximate. He's got to do title searches and everything else.
Right.
You don't know what,
Right.
you don't know. So 90 days from today.
we
this
still
is
want to
March,
collect this money, though,
April,
right?
May, June.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Well,
Let's
I guess-
collect it.
Like, I don't know what the argument is.
I guess we're.
We're not going to do it in the way that gets in
We're
trouble.
kinda
We're
getting
going to,
somewhat out of sequence.
Well, I hope so, but I
Right,
want
we're
to
giving
see
it
it
to
in black
our
and white.
attorney.
But it was
I want to
said
see it
that-
in black and white, even from an
Hey,
attorney.
Vito, I do think that because we have been talking about this, a lot of locals who had heard about us talking about this came in and paid their bill before a letter came out.
Oh, you put it on Facebook, huh?
Right, okay, so the next item would be, once people who haven't heard about it, and we send them a letter, there'll be a whole other wave of payments that'll come
I
in.
just, for my own edification,
Yeah.
to cover our rears, okay, get it in writing, the timeline of what the legal process is
Yes.
when you're dunning these people. Okay? That's all I want. It's not a big deal.
And my motion's on the floor that we have the town attorney put out the letter following the statute that we have to offer them a reasonable time to pay it. And they have 30 days in order to answer that, otherwise, it still fits in what you're trying to do, Patrick. So no matter what, he has to put a letter out
Yeah.
that gives him 30 days.
that's what I was saying is,
Yeah.
all of this is going to happen because we're going through the correct
Right, right, right,
process
right.
with our attorney.
And I'm just saying,
So,
no, but I'm saying that
do you not trust our attorney?
I don't trust when we say we're not going to give anyone a payment plan when the statute says you must.
We will follow all applied laws and
Okay.
statutes.
They need
Yeah.
to get, my motion is on the floor right now, and it's been second, that the town attorney must put this letter out immediately
Yeah.
and offering, saying we're moving forward with a tax sale. You have 30 days to either pay or come to the town manager with a payment plan of maximum 12 months.
I would modify your motion and basically say that the attorney would come out, okay, with a request, okay, for payment of taxes with terms as specified by state statutes, and let the state statute define.
State
okay, what
statute
the-
says reasonable, so we need to
State,
say what
okay,
we're-
the state statute says, okay, if the state statute says reasonable, then adding 12 months is an appropriate thing, okay.
And I'm gonna be
I would
upfront.
stand corrected.
I'm gonna be upfront, there's
Yeah.
one town that gives 7 months.
Yeah.
I'm throwing out 12 months. Is a second?
We're also
For discussion.
trying to use this to offset the deficit which failed the budget.
I can't break the law because I'm trying to.
Oh, no,
see
but
what-
reasonable could also be
You could say 6 months.
6 months.
Well, so it's not going to fix the deficit for this because it's already.
We're getting a
Well,
higher
but it-
percentage in a lower time.
Yeah.
Well, I think ultimately,
wanna
whether
encourage
it's 6
people to
months
pay.
payment
Yeah.
plan or 12 months payment plan, it
We just
doesn't
said
matter
our
for your
attorney.
practical purposes to
Right.
collect it before July 1st, right?
If you're on a payment plan, you're paying a higher percent of it.
That's okay, but for you to collect money by July 1st, it doesn't matter, because if somebody makes an agreement to pay on 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, it's not going to
It's
come
past
into
July.
our coffers.
Well,
Yeah,
well, I-
yeah,
Buy when you need it.
But I
You know what I
think,
mean?
Vito, the
Part of
point of
it
putting
will.
the letter out is that hopefully half again of these people are gonna pay before,
Yeah.
within
That's
30 days
fine.
of getting the
I'm
letter.
just-
Right, yeah. So we're
I'm
gonna
just
collect
saying.
money.
So if we had
Yeah.
100,000 over.
Let's have one person talk at a time.
If we had
Yeah.
$120,000 over a year, that's 10,000 a month, right?
Okay.
If we had 100,000, or 120,000 over 6 months, that's 20,000 a month. So between now and July, we would get twice as much.
Not
So,
necessarily,
if it was on a payment plan of equal payments.
not necessarily.
They don't have the money, you get.
Somebody can come in and say, no, if you don't have the money, then it goes to a
It
It's a
goes
tax.
different
tax
issue.
sale,
Yeah,
like
you
that.
know, it goes to tax.
I-
We're all-
I'm
we're
very
all-
like,
Listen, we're
shocked
all
by this
hitting at the
conversation.
same target, that there are taxes that
Collect
have
the
to be
money.
paid or whatever.
Yeah, so.
But someone could
Follow
come in
through.
and say, and it's a reasonable plan, I will make a payment starting July and be done within 3 months. You're not getting it, that's what Vito's saying, okay? You don't.
Does that fall within what you were saying, though?
Yeah, it does. You have a reasonable.
What Jim's saying is the plan is not negotiated until the plan is negotiated.
Right.
Basically,
Okay, yeah.
reach out.
Right, yeah.
Reach
Yeah.
out, let's have a discussion and create.
Can I move forward with our attorney
Yes.
doing his job?
I have a motion on the floor that says that the attorney must include, and it's been second, 12 months repayment plan. I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay.
That's the direction. These are, and I'm just going to throw something in here. These are people that, some of them, there are hard times, okay? And because we didn't throw a tax sale every year, and now all of a sudden, some folks didn't even get a letter or any of these months telling them that they were late, okay?
They did.
I haven't seen one in a year, okay, on one of my properties. all
Our
right?
documents say in June.
Yeah, well, okay, I never got it in the mail. So, all right?
An issue.
Okay, so, no, don't say next year, because it won't be done next year, all right? You're gonna make, everybody's gonna make a big deal about it. So, anyway, what I'm getting back to is that we talk about compassion and everything in this town, and then we want to screw somebody because we need the money now. So give them, and that's the direction, give them 12 months, okay? And if somebody comes in and says, I can start paying in July, and I'll pay within, then they can. So you have the directions on that. What's the next one? ADA compliance policy?
ADA compliance policy. Our current policy just links to state handbook.
1988?
Yeah, it's one of the old ones. So this is a very boilerplate. It says that we follow ADA Compliant Act 1990, which is the federal, as amended, Section 504, Act of 1973, all your big players in the ADA world. It also says that we follow the 2010 ADA standard for accessible design as amended, which is another one, and Vermont Accessibility Code Rules and Standard, which was the document that we linked to. So this kind of ratifies it a little bit better. It also includes a process of which, if there's an issue, the issue can be grieved. So this is the direction I want to go with all of our policies, to have standard looking, and have your purpose, your policy statement, and then kind of write it from there. I wanted to bring this one first because it's a pretty mellow one. Like, there's not too much to, discuss on it.
I'm going to just say, like, when I looked up on ADA of what the proper way of warning or whatever, or putting, or making it available for us to adopt, I think the grievance and everything else is a little too far on here. Any person believes they have been aggrieved, that's the grievance procedure. And then I think it goes on to filing complaint and review and response and appeal. I do understand we have over 50 employees, okay? So it's a total of, it even includes part-time,
This is
no, in
even
order
for
to
our
be-
buildings and,
This is any ADA process, any ADA, if it's
Public.
under 50, you don't have to have a grievance area or whatever, you don't
No,
have
you
to.
don't need
post
to.
it. But if you're over 50, that's the cutoff, and we are with our part-time
they're
workers.
part-times and seasonal.
But I would like to move this to our, to the first meeting in April or whatever that we have, so I can have time to bring forward to the board a copy of what they suggest that we do. I think we have too much here for the procedures and the alternatives and everything. I think we're just going too far within 10 business days. If you look at the ADA online, it just tells people that they have a way of filing a complaint.
Yeah, I believe the 10 business days is to make a complaint,
So I would just like to have time to bring.
just
what-
acknowledge that we received it.
You know, I
And
would
it's
like,
written issue in 30 days.
I would like to make a motion to table this until the first week of April.
Second.
So I can come in and bring it.
All right.
Do I have any discussion?
I just have one question. Since we are a town serving the general public, you mentioned 50 employees. Okay, is this an employee-related thing, or is this a
It's a
general
general
public
thing.
It's a general public thing, but you must post and you must have procedures or whatever if you have 50 or more people working. It's kind of,
Okay.
if your employment level is this, you need to
Okay,
take that
yeah.
extra step.
Yeah, okay.
If you don't have 50 employees, you
Then-
don't
Then
have
it's an
to.
undue burden
Then some-
on your.
okay,
yeah.
okay.
Because
I
on
got
the
you.
other thing here, between now and then.
I'm good.
I would like to put out, because we are going to go with it, because it's just a matter of the wording.
Yeah.
But we have to have, and there's also asking for a person to be the designated ADA.
The town manager or
That's the town
designation
manager.
officer.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
town manager in here.
So, all right.
So
So,
you good with that?
yeah.
I mean, I don't want to push it off on anyone else. It may, Department of Public Works, but
We don't have that.
I know, exactly. Thank you.
Oops.
Thank you, Rob.
All right, so all in favor, we just said. all.
First meeting in April.
First meeting in April.
Aye.
FY 2025 financial audit and management letter. I think we should just first, right now, like, you're saying that the audit, and I'm looking at it, and it's still draft.
I sent you the wrong one. It is the same thing, just without the draft removed for the,
This is for
For the letter.
2025. I thought we just said that there's still numbers coming in for the 2025.
so this is the short report.
Yeah.
The short report is good. They're still
I'm saying
working
the
on.
budget.
Oh, sorry.
There's a long report here. I'm saying
What
that
are we talking
it says, financial audit and management letter. And
Yeah.
and the audit that I'm looking at, it says draft.
Because it's a short report.
Okay.
It's not the full, there's other things with the assets that we have and other items. This is prelude to the full report, so to give you something. If you don't want to go over it, we can take.
I would like to at least discuss the management letter.
Yeah, that's more of the important part out of this. And the management letter is a final draft. I sent you the wrong version that says draft on it. But
So you actually
Essentially
have-
the same?
You actually have a final letter.
it is the same.
I think the one you sent me when I requested it was the final.
I sent you the final, yeah.
Okay,
So there's no substantive changes between the
Okay.
draft.
You're
and the
higher
final.
up.
okay.
Yeah.
So, reading through this,
I was pending.
I was a little shocked that this stuff goes on. You know, we discuss all this business with hidden, I didn't get that one. It's
Oh, no, I marked
so
these
much
myself.
fun. It's, oh,
Yeah, my marked version is in my desk.
I didn't have my
one.
markers with me.
My marked version's just like that.
But, you know, some of these are the most simple accounting functions
Yeah.
that should be.
And some of these are already fixed.
Okay, well, I was going to ask.
Yes.
You know, how much of this stuff has been addressed already? Because I know you
Quite a
did the enhanced audit, and now is addressing these type of issues.
Yes, so you got to remember, these are addressing issues that were identified in FY '25. And so since then, part of requesting this
Everything's
enhanced
changed.
audit was saying, hey, look at these areas, we're pretty sure they're not good. So we're telling them, look at these areas, and they came back and they said, yeah, you're right, they're not great. So we've already changed some of the we've came into compliance with some of the recommendations in here. There's certain things like the policies, which, again, we've been trying to do for the last 2 years, that take time. But a majority of the things in here have been addressed in some way or another since 2025.
What really bothers me the most is the last item, this whole general ledger reconciliation.
Yep.
Okay, so the reason that 200-some-odd thousand wasn't discovered on the solar panels is because somebody didn't do a reconciliation of that account.
Well,
Okay? It's very simple. It's just,
Our
there's no
accounts
ifs, ands, or
do-
buts about it.
It does reconcile out to show
Where do,
our
how is
total.
it
There's no
reconciled?
money missing. So it was, because it was spent, so it's, with the double entry counting, it was spent, so it's not reflected in our actually pooled cash anymore, and it's counted as a negative in the books, so it's not counted as plus money.
So.
That's
so,
a different issue.
So, listen, so, in my memory, when you do a reconciliation, when you find something that's not kosher, like something that's been buried in a sub-account that doesn't show up readily, you question it. You go to the person who made that entry. Why was this entry made?
And that's what we're doing now.
Okay, well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It could have been caught a lot sooner if.
We did it back in 2022, 23, guys.
Well, the
And
point
then we
is,
get-
it
it was
wasn't
done
caught in
right.
the accounting system.
Right.
Okay, so it should have been caught, it should have been questioned, you know, it should have been questioned by management. It shouldn't be up to the select board to say what the hell's
Management's the
going
one
on.
that pushed it to the dark side.
Yeah, right, yeah. No, the thing is,
I'm just telling
the
you.
thing is, there's a
What-
huge
what
process
I'm
hole.
getting
It's a
at,
process,
what I am
right.
getting
There's a huge
hole.
process hole.
What I am getting at is, well, it's accounting, so you need accountability. So if somebody pulls shit like this, whoops.
First one, dollar jar.
If somebody pulls this kind of stuff,
We'll cure the.
they should be called out, and some kind of discipline should be, you
But
know.
they're gone.
They're gone.
They're
I
not
know, I'm
here.
just saying, we're talking about personnel.
in the future,
I'm gonna
I also
sit here and
agree.
say- I'm going to just sit here and say, I don't agree with that, okay? That, I do not agree with, that they're gone. These mistakes were not just at this year. These mistakes, you're just proving to back to 2022 on the solar panels. If you want to go through, I'll leave it for an executive session at one of our next meetings to go through a bunch of stuff. You know, accounts payable general ledger, the bookkeeper's doing that. You want to go through these things? Tax billings. Who's gone that does the tax billings? Who? Who's gone?
But
Who's gone?
I think
No.
that's a policy issue.
No, 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 but you said, no, you said these
Policy are not
people are
doing that.
gone.
When we're talking about the solar panels, yeah, they are.
No, no, so tax billings. Who's gone that does the tax billings?
Prior town manager's tax collector.
Okay,
We-
journal entries.
We've had a couple different directors of finance.
No, they don't do that. Mathematical adjustments needed to avoid misstatement. Bank activity.
Director of finance.
Accounts payable general ledger. Killington path forward land purchase. Yeah, that was,
Land purchase, we booked
because we had
seven-
management that couldn't take that.
And
it was
also
more
we-
than 700.
It was more than 700 because we didn't account for the soft costs associated.
Well, that's management, that wasn't, it could have been 700,000 plus if I didn't go out and get the money from the other two. And general ledger reconciliations, okay? You can laugh, I'm the one that went
No,
out and
with-
got the money from the resort.
No,
and
the
from-
issue with that, though, is it cost more than $700,000 and we didn't have approval from
And
the
I just
voters.
said that it could have been plus 700,000.
Right.
Because it wasn't in the budget, okay? It wasn't in the budget to buy the land.
Right.
It wasn't. Because people got up in front of a whole community and said, and then they finally came through, okay? There was a lot of push for that. So,
I guess the question is, okay, do we want to fix the process problems? Because if we want to fix the process problems, we got to start working on fixing the
Right.
process problems
Right.
and
Not
not making
focus on the
recriminations about the past. Okay, we just got to get to it and get the holes closed.
then-
And as John said, maybe bring in more automation, more computer services to it, or whatever the solution is.
Currently, this week, we implemented our payroll, again, buggy first day, but it's the first steps. So now, time clock, so clocking in, clocking out, accrual of hours, implementation of leave, put leave books, all of that is now, requesting leave off. All of that now is easily tracked and automated. So it's taking load off of the employees that were then stretched thin to do all these other tasks. where
So we're
things
doing
sort
it
of fall
in-house?
through. No, we contracted out to have a platform that we're using, and they are working with us to do our bespoke.
Customize it or something?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So I'm just going to pick up on, I agree with what you're saying, Bill. We have to stop blaming, but then when you come out and say none of those people are here anymore, it's not true, but let's stop it. These are issues that we have in front of us. Let's fix the issues in front of us and stop an open thing saying they're not here anymore, because if you're going to do that, we'll go deeper. And they are, some of them. So these are issues that have to be corrected, and some of them are being corrected already.
The process
Okay.
and policy issues, not people issues.
You know, and then, to me, this R.H. Smith or whatever, I mean, these are things that have been going on for decades while they're doing it, okay? It was brought to the attention in all of this mass confusion and everything going on, and it's been proven that, but for him to be going, while performing the audit for the above-mentioned fiscal year, this has been going on, and I think you will agree, for a lot longer than this one fiscal year.
I think that's a safe assumption.
It's really
Okay?
safe
Yeah.
assumption.
So there, all right? And that's where I'll leave it, but our job is to fix it. But
Yep.
let's stop coming back and saying things like, I don't want to put blame on anyone out here.
Then don't.
Well,
No,
yeah.
you're the one that first came out and said it. No,
We
you
don't need to
came
put
out-
blame on it. We said,
Well,
these
you-
are the problems.
Okay, but
Let's
that's
fix them.
what's funny, because you came out first and said they're not here anymore, so you are
Right.
putting
In the
it
co-
onto people.
in the context
and you're
of
gonna
saying
leave people.
the history of it
Excuse me.
matters little.
I said they're not here anymore, and I was specifically talking about management who should have
Caught the issue.
overseen this,
Yeah.
seen this and caught it. Those were the people who I was talking about, okay?
But I don't even
And
wanna go there.
No, I know,
Same with
I know.
me.
But I will tell you that, you know, people do make mistakes, and
Yeah.
it is what it is, and we just gotta
People don't make
close.
mistakes, $200,000 mistakes.
No, no.
Yeah, they do.
No,
Yeah,
no.
they do.
Yeah, they do.
Right here.
Okay, but we gotta close the processes.
That's assumptive.
Yeah, we gotta.
That's assumptive.
No,
No.
we gotta close the
stop.
processes, and as Jim said, okay, we can't believe that it was just 2025, okay? I mean, it's pretty clear, so it's just like, we
This was
just,
the culture. This was the
yeah,
culture.
okay, it was
One
bad.
question I have in terms of the process and everything else, who has the role of being the accounting manager? Is it you? Is it Kirsten? The accounting manager who oversees people making journal entries, doing the reconciliations? Is there somebody managing this process?
The director of finance, I do very little with journal entries and adjustments. So the director of finance is that.
So we finally have where group of culture that's been here a long time allowing this finance director to do the job?
I don't know what you are getting at with that, but what I can tell you is the director of finance oversees the finances, which includes, the only person in her department is the bookkeeper. So they work together on the finances, and then there's.
The treasurer pays the
And then the
bill.
treasurer pays the
Just a
bills.
question.
Yeah.
So the bookkeeper is the only person who makes the entries into the system?
No. Kirsten, do you want to explain the
The
process?
treasurer is legally binded to be doing reconciliation and giving us every
Well,
single
that's why I'm
month.
asking, I want to ask him, you know, who's doing what.
Okay, sorry, I'm just letting Jim finish, and then I'll chime in when you guys are ready.
You can go.
Okay, so right now, I am working on setting up a meeting with Monica and Mona. I would like to have all three of us sit down and get procedures in place. Previously, from what I have observed, the finance department tends to work in silos, where the finance director does their thing, the treasurer does their thing, the bookkeeper does their thing. Obviously, as seen in the management letter, that is not how it should be. We were a bit busy with not having a town manager, so this has been delayed more than I wish that it had been. However, it has been on my list of things to do, to sit down and create policies and procedures that we can bring to the select board regarding the financials of the town. There are some that are currently in place already, which are available on the Killington Town website. They do need to be updated. They're a little old. But as of right now, the bookkeeper handles accounts payable, payroll, and and tax collection. She also handles the sewer and water, sewer for Route 4, and various other tasks that are basically thrown on her. With my position, I have been handling the oversight of all of the TIF, the FEMA, implementing the new payroll system, and anything that I'm able to assist Mona with making sure that it gets done in a timely manner. The treasurer is responsible for the actual compliance portion of the finances, which includes the reconciliation of the bank accounts, drawdowns from any bonds that need to be drawn down, repayments to any bonds that need to be paid with my guidance, and I typically do the general ledger entries for that. And then she also assists the town clerk when necessary.
The town clerk has nothing to do with the finances, that's correct, right?
I'm sorry?
The town clerk has nothing to do with finances.
Correct. She's the assistant town clerk, so she
Right.
does
So
that.
We're talking about the treasurer's position and the assistant treasurer's position. Just because the treasurer may also be an assistant clerk, none of that work is overlapping from financing into the clerk's office. The clerk has
Correct.
nothing to do with financing.
Right, I wasn't saying that she was.
Okay, so I have a question. You covered tax collections, which is part of the accounts receivable, and then you have accounts payable. So does that person enter the invoices and also requisition the checks?
She puts the checks into the system, and then the treasurer completes the deposit.
Okay. What about accounts payable?
Accounts payable, all of the invoices are put into the system, and then the warrants are printed for the select board to review.
Who puts the invoices into the system?
The bookkeeper, after they are coded by the department heads.
Okay, okay. So the department head codes it, and the bookkeeper inputs it into the system as a journal entry?
Yep.
Correct.
Okay, and then does that cover as a requisition as well to cut the check?
The check is printed after the warrant is signed by the select board.
Okay, so, okay, the one other item that I didn't see addressed is the short-term rental receipts for the permits and stuff. How is that handled?
That is currently handled by the administrative assistant. All of that is done through the bank account and then reconciled by the treasurer.
It's received online, some are checks, very little are checks, but if a check comes into town.
So we're talking electronic.
Then it
Most of
hands-
it's
then it goes
electronic.
into, but 99% of it is electronic. It comes in and the treasurer will see it because it comes in through our government, whatever, software.
Portal.
Portal to come in. And then also they reckon.
Okay, so the way I'm seeing, one person does the billing for the short-term rental permits?
No.
No.
There's no billing for the short-term rental. It's it's an electronic, you go on.
It's like filing
And
a
if you
permit.
have a two-bedroom, you have $250. If you have a three-bedroom, you're whatever, $300.
So
It
the
goes on
registration
from there.
fee.
And it's a registration fee that is paid each year.
So the
when they
person
file.
applying goes online, does his application, puts
Gives
his
the credit card.
in,
Mhm.
and boom, it
Yep.
goes.
Yep.
Okay, so
Yes.
it goes right into the bank account.
Correct.
Yes.
No human
And
intervention.
then the treasurer.
Yeah, they just
works it
reconcile,
into,
yeah.
but
They reconcile.
They're not gonna
Yeah.
get
To
into.
reconcile.
They're
It
not
is-
gonna get into if it's a three.
It has its own budget line, so
Okay,
they just
so
update that
Is there any
number.
cross
And
reference?
then Monica and I, the treasurer and I are both going to be working, tomorrow, we actually have an appointment set so that she can teach me how to do the clearing accounts in the bank statements, so that way we have another person who has eyes on it.
Yep. The main goal of all this is to get multiple eyes on everything and not have a single
Okay, no,
point of
that's,
failure.
that's good, that's good, that's good.
Yeah.
Right.
One other question, is there any cross-reference between, let's say, a property was registered last year, but then they don't register this year?
For short-term rentals,
That's,
should be
yes,
handled
that's
by the
actually
software.
part of the program that's being used. We are paying them to review anybody who has a VRBO or an Airbnb
you can't
listed
just run a
online that does
report?
not have a permit through us.
You can run a report. You can run a report. So there are units that are, so question one, once you're approved, the first year that you're approved, if it's a 123 Easy Street, and it's a 3-bedroom, that's what they're approved for after everyone went through all the paperwork, zoning and everything, went through the paperwork. And then if they come in the next year and they say it's a 4-bedroom, and then it's gonna get clocked that, no, you were registered as 3, you can't get a change or whatever. So that would be, that would set up a red flag. If it is sold to somebody or the person decides not to rent it that year, and they don't rent it, okay, or they rent it for 14 days or less the following year, they don't have to register. But what happens there is a report that I used to run that would tell me how many people are renting that are not registered. So there are reports that you can get off of that.
So what do? They canvass the, online
Yeah, that's what they do,
rental
yeah.
ads?
Scrape it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep, that's what they do.
And if you're under 14 days, Vito, you're not involved with it.
Learning.
So, yeah, so that's that.
Yep.
All right, is there any other thing on the management letter? No. I think we really just have to, I think you hit it, but I think we've all hit it too, like, this is a cultural, this is not a
Culture.
one.
It's not a onesie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a onesie. It's-
No,
We got a problem.
We need a cultural
Yeah.
shift in how
Now,
we do
You
stuff.
know, that's, yeah. So the people who are running the show gotta make the culture change. The
Right.
leader,
Right.
the cultural leader.
I think it's gonna be me.
Well, you
Next one I
You don't
have
want me
is-
leading the
Well,
culture.
no, but
You're part of it now.
part of it now.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Next one I have is the
I'm
AJ.
part of the cultural problem.
You're definitely part of the cultural problem.
You know, bacteria are cultural.
Next, we have the AJGA host facility agreement. This is to solidify that we want to do the AJGA golf tournament. It's something that has to do a while
Yeah,
ago.
we tasked them to find another event.
They didn't.
The board prior to this board, we said, go out and find.
Yeah.
AJ, reading this thing here, we fought so hard that when they first came here, they wanted it, this is saying to run the tournament up to July 2nd. And this is the week that, we fought so hard to get it back to June 12th area, because we start charging heavy fees come the 4th of July.
The last couple of years, it was moved up to here.
The last couple of years, if I Google like 2020.
That's what their records show.
I don't care what their records show. If I go and look online, AJGA 2023, 24, or whatever, it's going to tell you it was like June 12th, okay? That was the registration period. They're going to tell you that because they wanted that weekend before. I just have a few other questions, like the golf course put a budget together, and they're only supposed to make around 100K.
They said they could support this.
They could support it, but now their budget is set, so now where are they going to make up the 20-something thousand dollars that they're going to lose in
They're
revenue?
not gonna, it's gonna be less revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but they're still gonna be within
I-
the green and operating. I asked them about that.
I was the only one in the vote that said, we need to get an event back, and if they can't find another event,
Go to
then the
AJGA.
AJGA.
Yeah.
It's also in the minutes, I said, and a reason why, because I didn't want to affect budgets, okay? That now all of a sudden the town's gonna have to kick in money for, no, if the golf course keeps on moving down, we, the taxpayers, are liable. We're liable for that golf course. And that's what was happening then. So if they're gonna lose $20,000 in their number, and then they say, well, you told us to have it, so now we're not on target or whatever, I'm sticking to that this is an event for 2027, okay? And they have to come back with another event. I would really love to see this town come together, of a thought the other night. We have Steve Finneran, we have Red Glaze, we have Leo Davin, and we just had John McCauley pass away. These are 4 people that were huge to this golf course, okay? I would like us to work between now and next year, okay, with the resort, and could you imagine having a tournament for 2 days or 3 days, like Rutland has down there? They have one of their programs down there, but reaching out, and I'm sure you can sell out the 2 golf courses, that both of them are gonna sell out the event, and actually be buying booze and stuff and everything. And that's what we need in this town, something that's gonna be big. But to come back now and say, 2027, we're gonna have this. 26.
This is for this summer.
Yeah, I'm not on board for that, because it's going to affect their revenue now is going to come down, and the reason why we'd have it like 2 weeks prior to the 4th of July, these kids are amazing.
Yeah, one of the people that placed, or was one of the top finishers a few years back, just won their first PGA Tour this last Sunday.
Tiger Woods was in this way back, okay?
In the
But
girls
these-
thing?
No, this is the AJGA, this is boys.
Oh,
juniors.
the boys,
This is both, this is juniors.
This is after the
Yeah,
ladies.
the girls is.
It was after the
This
operation?
is after the futures.
No,
This is after the
This
futures.
is AJGA.
Different tournament.
This is not just the females.
Yeah.
Okay? So what I'm getting at is that when you start talking to, the reason why we moved it back 2 weeks is because they are so good. The golf course takes 2 weeks to get back in shape, okay? All the divots and everything else going through there, they pound this golf course.
If we want to do it this year, this is the only time we can do it, because that's our only slot, and was our slot in past years.
So I have a question, Jim. You're concerned about their income, and Patrick said they're in agreement to have this, so what is the problem if they're accepting reduced income to have this event? Are we guaranteeing some sort of income for them, or?
We pay them to come here.
No. We don't pay the AJGA to come here. We comp their course fees.
We also have to give them.
Well, I'm just wondering if there is an issue, if the golf course doesn't make their nut, because they have to give up this slot.
So they how much do they project?
I just don't understand what the problem is.
100?
Lost revenue, are you saying?
Well, no, but like, what's their revenue projection, like?
I have to pull up their.
Like
So,
100?
Golf Performance Center, Killington Junior Golf Championship, AJGA, 2024, June 18th to June 20th. It wasn't July, it wasn't July
Yeah,
2nd.
I did the same thing, yeah, they're all in the middle of June.
Okay,
They're in the middle of
They're all in the middle of June.
Okay, well, that's good.
This is the time.
This is the time they have this year. This is the time they have this
So
year.
I'm gonna make
They
a
were
motion not
mistaken.
to accept it for
This is the
this
time they
year.
have this year.
Do I get a second?
So,
So we can talk.
okay.
Do I get a second?
I'll second it. So, are we saying then, because that's peak time, right?
Yep.
4th of July week, basically.
Right before July 2nd.
Right, but basically that weekend,
July
right?
2nd is the Thursday, July 4th is a Saturday this year.
Right.
July 2nd is a Thursday.
Right,
before
so it's,
that.
it's,
Yeah.
it's in the window of peak time.
close to
right? Like the week
4 days.
before and the week after are like primary holiday vacation
Historically,
weeks,
well, I don't know
right?
about the golf course, but historically for lodging properties, probably not. It's probably just before the peak time. Okay, so I mean.
But for golfing though, like even day trip.
Well,
like
I
just-
think for second homeowners coming up,
Third week
they
of
would,
June.
that would probably be a good week for a second homeowner.
Right, like the week
to come up.
before
The week
4th and
before the 4th
and
of
the week
July.
after, because people,
Right.
if it's Saturday,
Right.
people might take either week off as their, one of their
Yes,
vacation
that-
weeks.
Yeah,
So, to lose the revenue, which the golf course may be okay with, I don't know how that.
They're saying
I
if we
wasn't as
approve it.
involved, right? So, like, I don't have a ton of
Jim actually made the
reference.
right comment. It takes a couple of weeks for the
And
golf
this is
course
what
to
I'm
recover.
getting at. This is where
Yeah,
one.
He made the right comment.
This is my
about
greater
that.
concern, is
Yeah.
that, sure, the $15,000 green fees, that 20,000 that we might lose is a very relevant number, but if more than that, golfers come in behind them and they're paying full boat for green fees, and they're playing on a course that looks marginal because it's been beat up by, by semi-professionals, young professionals, whatever the right word is, and the course hasn't been pulled back together, are people going to be disappointed, not want to come back? You know what I mean? And then do we lose additional lost opportunity revenue?
You get complaints.
I don't think you have lost opportunity revenue, you may have more complaints.
You have complaints, but listen, the reason why we went to this, I could go back to 2023, I think it was 12
Right,
to...
no, it is.
June 12th to June, whatever, 15th or 16th, whatever it was, okay? The board worked really hard, even with Steve Finneran, we worked hard to get it away for the problem that you're talking about. Ending it on July 2nd, and then having people coming through the middle of July, having complaints about the golf course not in good shape.
Well,
and you gotta also remember, the golf course for this event is set up differently, Bill, than for the public.
I'm very much aware of that.
You know?
Yeah.
So that
Actually,
changes-
not so much for the kids, but
the grass.
yeah.
Joshua Eckler has his hand up whenever.
Yeah.
And I don't know much, I'm not a golfer, okay, but I know one thing, and that is that, when I take customers out golfing, it costs me a lot of money for greens fees, right? And so if I want to have an experience, the last thing I want to do is show up. So there's another factor. So there's one, showing up as the golfer who wants to play a beautiful course, which we absolutely have, a beautiful course, but you want to play it in good condition, not in roughed up condition, but even more so, I guess my other concern would be if that's tends to be a drier part of our summer, right? We're getting into the high heat of summer. The recovery is only going to take that much longer from heavy use and abuse if we don't get rain and moisture to help substantiate that rehabilitation of the course.
Yeah.
You don't know it, but I mean, the other thing is 2 years ago, when this thing was first being brought up, the board, back 2 years ago, instructed the KPAA, who is our local businesses, to evaluate this program, this thing here. And that report came back and said, it does nothing. Restaurants said no, other places said no. A lot of these folks stay down in Rutland, okay, not up here.
Most of them.
It is a great event, and I would like to see either that come back or something else come back, okay? But if they're gonna tell us it's that this weekend, or that week or whatever, right before, then my vote is no for all the reasons that I said, because the golf course will not be in our $100-and-something rate that we need to get for the first 2 weeks of July. We got July and August, and part of September, and then it starts going down. So I think we've taken a really good jump on this of putting in maybe this board with this town manager, if the board is strong enough to say to the town manager, you tell them, no, not this year, but, and then get on Great Life Golf, okay?
They're interested for.
Great Life Golf. And if they can't come up with something, then the following year, but AJGA has to go back to
we have
the
had,
2 weeks prior.
We had a local companies that that has an interest in housing and golf in the area. They also said that they would love to get connections. They have connections with WPGA.
Yeah.
So there's different opportunities.
Yeah.
What's Great Life Golf?
Great Life
management
Golf
company.
is Brown Golf now.
It's a management company
The
that
management
manages
company.
golf.
We have a management company.
Oh, okay, so
Great
that-
Life
okay,
Golf.
okay.
And then we have Great Golf.
Yeah, it's terrible namings around here.
golf.
So then it seems like,
They're all great.
Yes, fantastic.
it seems like there's within their current schedule, there are no other holes later in the season.
Nothing that would be,
But once again, we wouldn't want to go later in the season
we
either.
don't have to
That
be.
Right.
June,
Right.
that second, June 10th, 11th,
there's
12th.
nothing early
So-
in the season. I
Right.
think there's 2 holes in the season, and they're already working with another course. And
Well, then I guess next year maybe is the conversation, I guess.
that's what I want to basically want to say is, do
Guys
you
gotta
want to
remember that-
continue pushing it for this year, or no?
Someone online first. So Josh Eckler, I'm told, because we don't have on the big screen, but I'm told that you have your hand raised.
Well, yeah, I just raised my hand because I figured I'm next to the golf course and would be able to talk to it.
Oh, yeah, speak, Josh.
The last probably 6-7 years, we haven't gone after that business just because we've been so busy doing weddings and stuff like that. Typically, though, we actually see when we did open for that, we actually filled up really well for it. We were just too busy doing weddings and other events during that time. And the nice thing for us as a lodging partner was it was Sunday arrivals through like Wednesday or Thursday kind of stays. So
Soft time.
I didn't hear the actual dates because you guys said something in front of you, so I wasn't sure what dates you were referring to. But for us as a lodging partner, it actually used to be really good for us. We were just too busy doing our own thing otherwise.
And that's what I heard from the KPA was they mostly do
So-
condos and short-term Airbnb kind of.
Josh, I think the dates were like Thursday, Friday, what did you
It's
say?
Monday through Thursday, right before 4th of July.
July
so-
2nd was the last day.
Yeah, so last couple days of June, first couple days of July.
But the last 4 or 5 years that they had it, Josh, we were more in the June 10th to June 16th area.
Yeah, so what we used to see is we'd get a lot of people checking in on Sunday because they would do practice rounds on Sunday.
Yep.
And then the tournament would start on Monday.
And that's what we would
But
have.
I wasn't clear to me when you guys were speaking about it, if you were concerned about the lost revenue on weekend revenue of the
No.
golf course, or you're just more concerned about the damage inflicted on the course and, the rebuild after a big tournament like that.
Yeah, I think in this case, the lost revenue is not a significant argument on it because it's, no, that's a good number.
I think it's big when you gotta replace a whole,
Building and.
building and stuff or whatever,
Yeah.
But I'm more concerned of,
You're concerned
they're
about the-
forcing you and saying this is the only weekend. And and I sat on boards that we heard this before, and we said, no, thank you. It has to be at least 2 weeks prior, so the course could recover. So I am saying, I have a motion and it's a second, I am saying that unless they can come back this year, July, this term does not work. If you want to start talking about next year, then look at the schedule for next year, and more on that, ending by the 16th, that's whatever it comes out, no later than June 16th to end, so this golf course has time, so when we have prime players paying prime time, that they get what Green Mountain National is supposed to be. And I don't know what the calendar looks like, Bill, in June of.
Yeah, this year would be June 18th, okay?
There's no opportunity
If you
this
said something like the course has to be,
day.
the last day would be
Vacated.
Thursday,
Vacated the 18th.
okay, 2 weekends before the 4th of July.
Right.
Okay, that's basically what you'd want to say.
Right.
Something like
There's
that.
Yeah, I
there's
mean,
no
if
other
it's the-
times this year.
If it was the
Right, 'cause you want
16th or
2
the
weeks.
17th or the 18th.
But we're
Two
wasting
weeks,
our
right.
time, because Patrick's
Yeah.
had all these conversations.
Yeah, there's
So
no
now I
other
would
time.
like to see
Okay,
the
so-
2027, that,
For
can
next
you
year.
scroll through 2027 there?
Well, why don't we handle this one, if we want to go with the 2026 or not, like your motion?
2027 would be
Because then
17th.
I have a follow-up question depending on how this
Yeah.
plays out.
Okay.
But I think you're saying you want 2 weekends before the 4th of July weekend.
Yeah.
Right, whatever that is, that's, so.
Yeah.
So I'm saying right now, what's put in front of us that ends July 2nd, the motion's on the floor, I'm calling the question, I don't agree with this for the second. All those in favor?
Oh, hold on 1 sec. Connie, did you have a question, or did you have a statement on it?
I do. This is Connie. And I have volunteered at AJGA and I've worked at Green Mountain National. And the parents that come and the people that come to AJGA, the players, the parents are ecstatic. The players love the course and the parents love the volunteers. The volunteers come from all over Vermont.
It is a huge social.
I worked for Green Mountain National before, when Peter Bissell was still there. And I just looked up on the calendar, in June of '23, the AJGA played the week of June 19th. I was not available to work the year of '24. However, it's such a wonderful environment and experience for people to volunteer and watch these children play golf. And I'll tell you, when I worked for Peter, people were back playing on that course with no complaints.
So-
It all depends on who's managing the course.
Thank you.
To say, no, don't do it, would be shameful. We missed 25, and now we're gonna miss 26. And I'm sorry, as a resident who's been there and done that, it's shameful. So that's all I gotta say. I'm gonna mute, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Connie.
George,
Thank you,
you got
Connie.
something to say?
I have golfed after that, and the course is trashed, okay? I'm sorry, but it is. I mean, you can say what you want, and they've had pretty dry conditions when they had these tournaments. There's times on the Green National, it could be July, you can't put a card on the fairway.
We're one at a time.
You can't put a card on the fairway. So I'm talking right now, thank you.
But what,
Okay.
I'm still talking, thank you, Connie.
Connie, please stop. We let you
sorry.
talk.
We'll come back to you,
And I have to let the person in the audience speak.
I'm sorry, I did not mean to interrupt.
Thank you.
We'll come back to you.
However, I do believe.
No, stop.
Connie.
George, go.
Okay, thank you.
George has to finish.
I have been on the course afterwards. The course does get trashed, okay? And at that time of the year is your money area. It's just your money area. You can't do that.
I think we're all for the event to come back or something
Yes.
else. This period doesn't work. I just like, things pop into you. Yeah, but I'd just like to say, these things like all of a sudden pop in other questions. Like, there are probably, I don't know, 100 volunteers that do this, and they put a lot of time into it, okay?
Yeah.
But for each half a day, whatever they do, they get a free round of golf later on. So it costs us a lot more. But anyway, I'm going to call the question. The vote is not to move forward with these dates for this year. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
I want to abstain, but
Those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Ricky?
I said aye.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear you. Oh, okay, so three yes, one nay, and one
I
abstain.
mean, I'm definitely for it, but
I love the event.
I think the time.
Patrick, you've heard me like,
I know, that's why,
Timing.
that's why I was a little,
the events.
no, you've heard me, but the dates don't work.
dates don't work on this.
I
So
know,
that leads me to my second question. Do you want me to work with them to do 2027, or do you want me to go find a different partner?
I think you ask them to put a proposal in for 2027.
2027.
And just say, this,
This is
we
the
will
timeline.
entertain this,
We wanted
no closer to 4th of July than
the
2
2
weekends.
2 weekends before.
2 weekends before the 4th of July.
You gotta push it back, but I also want to then, I'll go with this for 2027, but I also think that the two different golf, and I'll talk to Solomano, and I'll talk to.
I like that idea.
And
That's
I
cool.
really do think we can
Killington
get like
Classic.
100-something of people that will come from down south to play in. John McCauley, that guy is known by thousands of people,
I really
okay?
like the idea of the two.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I mean, you set up
They're
an
like the helicopter
event,
ride.
and if you market it properly, people will come, it's like,
Yeah.
I would even go.
And the resort can, that's their job.
Yeah.
So we get together with them and use the two.
Do you want me
I'll
to
talk
reach out to them, pitch that idea?
Pitch this to tell them this, and then you and I go sit and talk to
Yeah,
Solomano.
we'll go sit and talk to
okay?
Solomon, yeah.
You and I sit to Solomano and go and say, this is an idea.
I like that
I think it really, and then it will bring, you talk about community, we'll have two events in 2027, okay?
Right,
I-
one that's more of a money generator.
I do
and one
think
that's- yeah.
about the AJGA, or if they bring in another tournament that's bringing in people from other areas, and the community works on it, okay? One of the things I know we're gonna have to talk about over the course of this year with this golf course is how do we get Killington residents to love the golf course? Okay, and an event like this brings Killington residents to that golf course, and they can see
Yeah.
what it actually brings to the town. So that's why things like AJGA are important.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Well, their
we're
exposure.
gonna have to figure that out.
Their exposure up.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many new people you're really gonna get. I don't know, because
You gotta look-
I know I played Green Mountain for, 15 years.
Yeah, but it's not just the players that have to love Green Mountain, it's the community.
There
at
are a lot
large.
more younger.
I'd like you guys,
I know, that's why I say I don't know.
It's not just the players.
Bill, if you guys could talk to Brown, they would get more golfers, because a lot of people do the 4-packs that are doing it, they're doing it over at a lot of places.
Great Life Golf,
Great life.
or something else.
Whatever.
He called it, it was Brown. It was Brown.
But if you had,
No, I wasn't sure if it was something else.
they have Vermontes that 4 people golf down at Woodstock, and it's cheaper.
Yeah.
And so you do it on your slower days. I'm not saying do it on the weekend, because that's a waste of money, but something like that would be nice to
Okay,
propose to them.
so anyway, I'm gonna call a question because we already voted on it, okay?
All right, so
I'm gonna move over.
Last one we have,
Well, next one is.
Plow truck.
What?
Plow truck? Sir, did I miss one?
You know, I had it online, but it's not on mine on this one here.
Oh, yeah,
I did see
yes.
it on-
So again, this is the updated one.
Okay, what is it?
It has sale of the plow truck. So, historically, how we have sold the plow trucks is we first go to Killington and say, hey, do you want to buy one of our plow trucks?
Ricky, didn't we first go and get a value from,
Usually have,
For the
say,
return?
have someone,
We get a value, yes.
yeah,
We-
have someone come in and give you,
We get a value, we have a value.
Yeah.
And then we go to Killington.
usually your salesman then, when you buy a truck, they give you a price
Yeah.
with the trade-in or
Yeah.
without the trade-in, so you
Yeah.
have a, you can work with.
Yeah, and so we took this truck to Killington Mountain with the price, they declined, because their
just
new
bought it
stance, yeah, they're just buying new now. Our next step was gonna be put it out to sealed bid, because that's how we typically do it. Between putting out sealed bid and now, someone approached us to buy it for the price that we were asking Killington. So I want approval to go ahead and,
my
that.
question is the price that we would sell it to Killington is the price that we would get from the dealership?
so this is already earmarked to go towards the truck, which is already purchased. It would happened out of order.
Okay, this is the one that we
This is the
slipped.
one that,
So
yes.
normally we would have.
Yes.
Okay, so for this one here.
This one, we need to sell.
So on this one here, we got to put it out for, it's an open bid as is.
Well-
And I think that's what they used to do way back.
But that's the saying.
With a minimum bid, obviously.
With a minimum
If-
bid.
If, do we want to do that, or if someone's already offering us for the price we were going to Killington?
I say it goes to.
No,
bid.
it goes to bid.
You want to
It
go to
goes
bid?
to
Okay.
Which truck is it?
K7, I believe, on the max, yeah.
So
The
you have,
oldest- The oldest Mac.
just,
Yeah.
Patrick, just put it in the Mountain Times.
That's, yeah, well, that's what I wanted to know, is do you just want the money now?
Bids
or do you want
due
to bid?
within 10 days.
Okay. Bid due
Okay,
within
it
10
gets
days.
you
Also,
into-
there's some
it gets
other
you
ones
until your
that-
June
that
30th.
have truck stuff. I would go a little further than the Mountain Times, actually, so you're reaching a bigger.
But then how much are
Going
you
out
pay-
to New England.
As long
and
as we
stuff.
don't
I
have to
mean-
pay a lot
I
of money
mean-
for these
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
I mean, we've had trucks being sold to Maine, a couple of trucks went to
Yeah.
Maine, so, I mean, people do look for these
gotta
things
be
from
a-
far
Well,
away.
what do you advertise it at?
The price that we're asking.
I can't think of any off the top of my
There's
head.
got to be a
but there's-
Facebook group of
Yeah,
just
there's
like
sealed- not open, but
heavy
sealed bid.
equipment,
There is.
New
I
England
mean,
heavy equipment
They used to have
users.
like
or-
a book for heavy equipment called Rock and Dirt, where you
Right.
buy all kinds of
Yeah,
that stuff
I
and
could see that.
everything.
So if you can sit down with Ricky, he might have some ideas of some other places.
And so-
But do me a favor, whatever it is, if all of a sudden we have to put it out to something that's gonna be in Maine or whatever, if there's a fee for it, then the minimum price has to come up. Okay, all right?
What do you mean, the fee from Maine, though?
Well, advertisement.
Advertising.
okay, I see
Yeah,
what
yeah,
you're
yeah,
saying. I
yeah,
thought you were
yeah.
talking about
All of a
fuel.
sudden, 'cause
We're talking if it's more
Classified.
significant than like
Yeah.
$40 or something, right? Like.
500, more than
Yeah, yeah.
$500.
Right,
okay?
something that it would make sense to reflect in the price
Right.
versus like, hey.
You gotta
it's
remember,
Like
when
a
you,
buyer's
number
premium,
and 40.
a buyer's premium or something like that.
if you go to a dealer, the dealer's gonna give you X, and that's what we're trying to sell it for,
Yeah.
okay? Normally, then the dealer will take it and make a profit on that.
We
So,
actually-
but we're gonna be fair and do what the dealer
We
says.
actually had dealers, salesmen in the past would
They may
actually
want it.
recommend people to us and not even deal with the salesman. That's
Yeah,
happened before
yeah.
in the
So-
past, like the salesman say, hey, the
So-and-so's
town
in
of
the
Killington
market.
is selling a truck,
Yeah.
we know you're looking for it, and you don't even deal with the dealership and
so-
them.
But with this one, you guys.
Can I get a motion for Patrick to move forward with a sealed bid, with a minimum sealed
I don't think we
bid?
need one, because that was what it was last time. We already had approval to sell it and all
Okay,
that.
okay.
It was just, did we want to skip the sealed bid and take what we were offering?
I don't wanna have people come in that I wasn't offered it.
Right.
Yeah, well, we were direct selling it to Killington anyway, so.
But they're not.
Yeah.
This is different
Again,
now.
in the past,
In the past,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then maybe,
No, I like,
maybe.
I prefer doing it this way, just everything goes sealed bid or.
So now we're gonna move on to
But that will have a
second,
minimum.
second citizens' input or concerns. I think we covered a lot here. I'm gonna look to the dwindled audience and
I'm still here.
state your name.
George, nothing on solar panels.
Nothing on solar panels. You guys already made that mistake. I know you've talked about it, Vito's talked about it, that you guys would split into teams and try to tackle some of these problems. That could also help the audit too, if you could do that, would be great. You know what I'm saying?
Anybody else?
Certain people
Is that
do
it?
stuff. No,
Is that
I'm not done yet. Well, I gotta listen to you guys all day, I could say something too.
Go for it. You have the floor.
And as far as saying losing the highway department on cuts, we lost the highway department with increases, okay? Last year. We were losing people left and right. Every meeting, another person was gone. So don't think that
Let's
that
not,
way.
yeah, let's not, it's quarter
Get
after
to it,
10.
Ricky, I'll keep going.
All right, what else you got, George?
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Rob, do you have anything?
Congratulations, Vito and John.
Jane, do you have anything, Jen?
No.
Okay,
You
Whit,
guys
you-
did a good job.
all right. Anybody online, Patrick?
There's plenty of people online.
Anybody online putting their hand up for it?
That, no.
Okay, all right. So, I'm gonna have one last thing that I'm gonna say here, and I think when we started it, the five-member board the last time around, Bill, I think, and what George is talking about is that I do think that it was run, and the voters agreed that we should have a five-member board, because there's a lot of work. And at our next meeting, I think we should be breaking into two each board member, and I think there should be one for finance, one for TIF, and one for roads, because those are the big things that are coming around. And we then also include someone from staff, and we also include someone from the public that we put out their name. So I would like.
Work group.
Work groups, just like a lot of other
Committees.
boards, committees.
Yeah, yeah.
A committee for TIF, a committee for financing, and it's not this current, it's moving forward financing.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, it's not gonna get, no.
Yeah,
So they have a look.
And the budget, the budget we gotta deal with.
Because we hear people say they have no input and why. So let's be more transparent and have an open committee.
And we'll get more
And like
done.
Rutland City says, I forget what I forget what they call a working group or something like that, standing
Task
committee that
force.
they go, or task force, and they do that, okay?
It's about
So
productivity.
let's have that for a conversation
A
coming.
lot of processing.
After the budget, so the first week of April, we can start talking about.
Well, the one thing that I came up, since we had that conversation,
Long
is
before
I
the
got-
election.
not that long, is I got a notice about the BCA and the BCA, and what was the other one? Board of Abatement.
Yep.
That they already have stuff in the pipeline on one of them,
Gonna be
and
real busy.
they got a,
Oh, I bet.
well, I shouldn't say
Start
that word
getting
again. A lot of stuff they're expecting because of the reassessment.
Yes.
So, I'm just wondering about the workload, you know what I mean?
You're gonna get very busy.
Well, you know, I
Summer.
mean, I have a life, you know, and I want to enjoy it while I can.
So.
You're in for the wrong seat.
I'm just saying. I don't mind
I
doing,
know, that's why
I don't mind doing,
thinking back to all the
a
meetings.
lot of work. It's
In the
just,
fourth quarter, we had, out of 12 Mondays, out of 12 Mondays in the fourth quarter, we had 10 meetings.
I'm going to just say here, when it was 3 members, and this is why everyone pushed for 5 to break it off, the reason why we had to have so many executive sessions was because there was only 3,
Yeah.
and Chris and I had to go in for contracts and legal.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
And sometimes we were meeting in the morning and then later on that afternoon. So, wow, that you had to meet up 7 weeks, 7 Mondays in a row.
We gotta do it.
I am sorry,
Yeah,
but
we
I'm
gotta
saying
do it.
that we need to come up once we get through all this, and I understand what you're saying. Like,
I mean,
but
I
at
don't
some-
mind putting in the work, but if
For
we're
the
going to get
next budget
slammed.
cycle of 2028,
Yeah.
we should have, okay?
Yep.
And we should have something for financing to come through, so there is citizens that can come in and listen while it's a work group. And it's,
Right, so
and
there's not
in a
meeting
work
tomorrow and
group,
all that.
only the people that are in the work group are going to be going through the numbers, okay? The public can sit there and listen. They're not going to take up the time, okay?
Right, it's
It's a
not
work
open
group.
meeting, it's a-
It's not open, it's a work group.
That's a good
With,
thing.
with that, we might be able to get out of here earlier, but with that, it is, that clock says 9:17, but I guess it's 10:17. I'd like to get a motion to adjourn.
My favorite.
Well, you did ask
Make a
for an
motion to
executive
adjourn.
session on all
Second.
of those things.
Yes.
Yeah.
You did say that.
Make a motion
forget
at
which
10:18 to go
I
into
think it's this one
executive
here that
session.
needed to be done by,
Oh, yes, yes, we need to do
Yeah,
that
an
one.
executive session for,
Golf thing, wasn't it?
yeah.
a contract, for, it's a legal document.
It is, it's for legal.
It's for legal documents. So a motion to go in executive session at 10:18 for legal.
Second.